you looking for a high-quality education provider? Are you looking for an educational institution that is 100% focused on Black history? Well, you have come to the right place. At AE Learning, we provide exceptional African history education, training, resources and courses to an international customer base. At AE Learning, our e-learning courses deliver high-quality content and support teachers and students alike, ensuring that they have what they need to achieve their learning goals. Go to aelearning.net to select from our comprehensive library of multimedia e-learning courses. Our courses come complete with tutorials from our African history teachers. Within our e-learning courses, you will also benefit from high-quality videos to assist in your learning. Throughout our courses, quizzes and examinations are provided so you can test your knowledge. A generous library of downloadable resources complements your learning, and in addition, there are materials to read through. Go to aelearning.net to learn more. AE Learning, your source for quality African history education.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining on this cloudy Thursday, Friday Eve here in Atlanta. It's kind of cloudy and overcast, but that's okay. That's okay. Again, hit that like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. All that good stuff. We need your support over here. Greatly appreciate it. Got a couple of announcements before we get started. Sierra Leone. Citizenship is back on the table. I have a group. They're actually leaving tonight and tomorrow. They're leaving out. But citizenship is back on the table. They've changed the rules some. So the major rule changes, you have to come twice now. So the days of pulling up, and this kind of ties into Burkina Faso as well, because I've had people say, well, Dynasty, if I got to come more than once, I could just go to Burkina Faso and get my passport in June. I was like, okay, all right, sure. And just show up and get my passport in Burkina Faso. It's like, all right, okay. So from my understanding, that got pushed back to October. And I want everybody to get their passports. Again, I want everybody to get their passport and live that dual citizenship life. But the reality is, when it comes to Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore has a lot on his plate right now. Again, he has a lot on his plate. So making sure, and I can't speak for him. I mean, this is just my opinion. I can't speak for him. Again, this is just my opinion. But with everything that's going on currently, I personally think that he has other more important priorities. This is just me. Than worrying about the diaspora getting their citizenship. That's just me personally. And I just believe that with everything that's going on, there's going to be an extra, let's say it happens, and we're going to claim it, it's going to happen. The level of scrutiny and screening that's going to need to be done on those who are requesting citizenship is going to really, really weed a lot of people out. That's just me personally, if it does happen. But Sierra Leone, citizenship is back on. You have to come twice. You have to wait a year between each visit. The first visit is getting acclimated to the country. The second visit is when you get sworn in. Swearing in ceremonies are going to be held every April and December. So the group that I had over there, that are leaving actually tomorrow. They're going to get their passports next April of 2026. The group that's coming with me in December, they'll get their passports the following December. Good news is the group that came with me this past November, they're going to get their passports in December. So yeah. So that's what's going on, guys. Hit that like button. But if you're interested in joining us, please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Again, to learn more. We're actually going to Senegal end of this month. I'm looking forward to it. Senegal's depending on which day of the week you ask me. Senegal is my favorite country in Africa. I love Senegal. Oh, I love Senegal. I mean, I love Nigeria, I love Sierra Leone. But something about Senegal, just overall, I love Senegal. So yeah, if you're interested in joining us. Oh, and then also we're rolling to Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Again, Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Zanzibar in September for Safari Blue. Then we're going to Namibia and South Africa in November for Amapiano and Dunes. We're going to climb Dunes. We're going to listen to Amapiano. And then we're rolling to Sierra Leone in December. So yeah, so that's what's going on. Hit the like button. I have not been to Guinea yet. I need to go to Guinea. I've been to just about every West African country except for Mauritania, Guinea, Conakry, and Guinea-Bissau. But I've been everywhere else. Senegal, if you ask me, has the best food in the world. I would say, though, my best favorite restaurant, though, is in Abidjan. It's a place called come on, Don. It's just the name of the restaurant. The Bushman Cafe. The Bushman Cafe. Oh, and with Sierra Leone, they also accept more DNA test providers. So Ancestry.com, African Ancestry, 23andMe, and CRI Genetics for those who are interested in citizenship in Sierra Leone. So visit donfo.africa to learn more. Again, visit donfo.africa. Bushman Cafe, not bushmeat, but Bushman Cafe. But my favorite bushmeat is also in Cote d'Ivoire. It's called a gouti. It's called a gouti. And the way it's grilled. It's an experience. It's delicious. Again, the way they grill it is delicious. Yeah. So that's what's going on. It's like a field rat. Yeah, I eat bushmeat. Love bushmeat. Black Americans eat bushmeat too here in America. You got Black American bushmeat. Black folks eat raccoon. They eat squirrel. They eat rabbit. They eat gopher turtle. So like I said, Black folks in America got their bushmeat too. Don't act brand new. Now it's illegal to eat the gopher turtle. Hold on, how to? Larry, did I put the link in the chat room already? How'd you get in, Larry? Larry, meet yourself. Larry.
Yep.
I put the link in the chat room. When did I put the link in the chat room?
Either you did or a ghost did it.
A ghost had to do it. I don't remember doing it. But anyways, Larry, you on here? Go ahead. Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you were talking about the raccoon, bushmeat, rat meat.
Yeah, Black Americans eat bushmeat too. So
You-
they act brand new. Sometimes I bring up I eat bushmeat in Africa. They'll try to act brand new, and I'm like, well, Black Americans we eat bushmeat too. Raccoon, gopher turtle, squirrel. What else? What else? What else?
pig
They eat,
feet.
there's another form. There's another form of like a field rat that Black Americans eat. So we eat that here too, and they act brand new in America.
Really, they get angry when I bring up pig feet and grits.
Yeah.
Or is it chitlins? Sorry, chitlins.
Chitlin. Well, chitlin, that wouldn't really be considered bushmeat, but still, it's the intestines of a pig.
Yeah, they say no, we don't eat that. That was the slaves that did that. We don't do that anymore.
Nah, Black folks. So back when I was growing up, and I'm from Sacramento, California. Back when I was growing up, there's a market. So I'm from South Sacramento. So there's a market in an area called Oak Park, and they would sell chitlins there on Sundays. So me and my mom would go get chitlins from that market and eat it. And they used to put it like the little Chinese takeout containers.
Oh shit.
So instead of fried rice, it'd be chitlins in there. Me and my mom would eat it.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, I don't eat meat. So, but I do come from a culture where they eat meat a lot. I just look at them and I say, oh, that's them.
Yeah. So in fact, there's a guy that has an Instagram and YouTube page. All he does is Nutri-Rat. There we go. All he does is cook like Black American bushmeat. He's in Florida. That's all he does.
Yeah, you hear that? No. I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of arguments with Black Americans when they want to make fun of either.
Yeah, because we want to be more, more sophisticated. We don't eat that,
Bourgeois.
Yeah, bourgeois.
But y'all eat pig feet. No, we don't. That was back in the day. The slaves used to do that.
Listen.
But you were right earlier. You said Mr. Traore, Ibrahim, has more on his mind right now. He's fighting a war on different fronts. So the citizenship isn't because he's being malicious. He's just trying to defend his borders at the moment. You got one group of extremists, then you've got another group from your homeland infiltrating the agents, the CIA agents, trying to start stuff. Then you got some of these people who are trying to access the gold, the mines. So he's got a lot on his plate, and he's got people trying to kill him, get rid of him, remove him from power as well. So he's got a lot on his plate. So the citizenship thing, it'll take a pause, not because he's malicious. He needs to.
Yeah, they were supposed to go next month, but then it got pushed to October. So we'll just see how that plays out. But I've been telling people the days of Sierra Leone was the only country where he could show up and get a passport and leave within 2 weeks. Those days are over.
Oh, I was going to ask you, when you get your passport in Sierra Leone, and let's say it expires, can you still travel to Sierra Leone to renew it? You're still a citizen, even though the passport's expired.
I'm not sure. I just make sure I go before it expires. Yeah. Renewed. I don't know. That's like that's what I did with my Nigerian one. I just went in there and renewed it. So.
Yeah, because people keep on telling me, even though my passport's expired, I can still.
With Nigeria, you can. But Larry, the only problem is you might have issues leaving the country without your new passport. That's the only catch.
Okay, but I have what you call it.
You can just renew it at the consulate in the UK.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, but I have to get my NIN. You can
do all that. You can do all that at the consulate.
Yeah. The consulate, they do that there. I thought you had to go to specialist.
No, you get it in at the consulate. I just do my stuff in Nigeria because I'm always, I'm there like 3 years. So I just,
All right, I'll check that out. I didn't know. I just didn't check for a while. So you can do it in the consulate now. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But thanks for that. I'll still hold you to that thing. We're waiting to see if America does a an invasion.
Oh yeah, Larry, listen, if it happens, you can come on here. I will give you uninterrupted 20-30 minutes, and you could roast me, no problem.
All right. You
No
know me,
problem.
because I don't hate the Republicans. I just hate American presidency, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. I just don't support you guys because you invade people's countries. That's it. We can joke about sports, movies, everything. I'll have a laugh. But once we get into politics, I'm your enemy because you invade people's countries. So I'm waiting for Trump to do it. He's going to do it. I don't care about this America first, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong.
So you think he's going to do it in Burkina Faso? You think so?
Well, he was involved behind the scenes bombing Syria when he was president before. And he kept that quiet. So he was involved in bombing people's countries. He was just doing it on the sly. He's going to do it again. He can't help it. He's an American president. You can't have that military all over Africa and not use it. The African command, is it the U.S. African command or something? With that imbecile General Michael Langley, who talks like he's got a rod up his backside. He'll want to initiate war. But there is something that I want to mention. I saw a picture, and Langley was being questioned in your Congress, and they were pointing out that some of the people he trained did go off to do evil things in Burkina Faso.
All of them. You know, I mean, Larry, even, you know, when he speak on the Biafran War, like all those generals, they were all trained at the same school in the UK. All of them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, they're all trained here.
So some part of me thinks, and forgive me, because I grew up under military dictatorships in Nigeria, never knew democracy or liberalism. It was always one dictator or the other. I'm always suspicious about Africans who are dictators, except for Thomas Sankara's legacy before they killed him. But I don't know. Part of me wants to be happy for Ibrahim Traore, but then I'm thinking, has he been influenced secretly by America? Is he like a CIA plant or something? I don't know. I hope I'm completely wrong, but you know, the Americans, they have their hands in everybody's pie. They're fiddling around with the leaders, and as you said, they got trained in a lot of them got trained either by the French intelligence or military or the American military. And in your country, you have a military headquarters called the School of the Americas, which was started like more than 30 years ago. And basically, if you look at the past alumni of that military academy, it's literally a who's who of Latin American dictators. So they were trained in America, then they go back to their Latin American country, instigate coups, take over the country, and then they become puppets for America. So I hope Traore is not like that. I really do. But I hope he's a good guy. I really do. And I think he's got a lot on his plate. He's not being malicious. So hopefully, if he's still around what was that month you said? July, or was it October? That month you gave?
It was June.
You said June. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I yield the floor to anybody else who wants to.
Go ahead, Cuddy.
Big salute, Diners. Big salute, panel. Big salute, chat. Man, hey, boy, it'd be crazy sitting back watching people on the outside looking in. But it's hilarious. This lets me know what's happening. This special thing that's happening in Burkina Faso and the Sahel region. This let me know this is a new movie for all of us. We ain't never seen this movie because people talking about what army is Trump going to invade Burkina Faso with? If they were going to invade, why didn't they do it already? Why didn't they do it 3 years ago when they were trying to sick eco wars on us and they wouldn't jump? And you know why they wouldn't jump? Because these are all family, all the tribes. See, it's deeper than politics, my European and American brothers and sisters. It's deeper than politics. It go back to bloodline. So when you know the tribes that's in the area, the Nabas, the kings, then you will get a better understanding of what's going on in Africa. See, you just going off what your masters give you, the information. See, to really get the truth, you got to put your boots on and go get some dirt on them. Because if you don't, then you will be living what you call a lie or in a state of confusion or trying to guess and figure out. But what's going on in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger is something our ancestors have never even seen before. Nobody's seen this story. We've seen people try to do it, but you never seen. And then they doing what they supposed to do, and they can't be controlled. That's the problem. That's why they facing so many problems. That's why people want to take them out, because they can't be controlled. So this is the first time we seen three brothers with unity come together and back their resources for their people, take care of their people, make changes for their people. It's the first time anybody's seen anything like this. That's why when I was at the rally yesterday, the eBay day, all the elders were there. All the elders support him. Mama and them, grandma and them, all the kids, everybody. The babies dressed up in uniform. Everybody. He trying to go, they won't let him go. Have you ever seen that before? That you ain't even heard of that. That don't even sound normal, do it? You want to leave, but the people of your country are protesting for you to stay. They like, if you think you finna go anywhere, we gonna get you, buddy. Never seen nothing like it before. And when people talk about elections, things like that, something else that stands out to me about Burkina Faso. There's no opposition. Everybody's on the same page. It's what I read in my Quran called divine unity. I'm seeing it take place in front of my eyes. Divine unity is taking place in front of the world's eyes. God is putting his chess pieces in order. Where will you be at in history? Because the new history is being made and written as we speak. As we speak, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
Mm-hmm. And guys, as far as the title of the stream, I mean, you can still travel there. Yeah, still go. Hell, I'll probably pull up in Burkina Faso this year.
Pull up, bro. Pull up.
Yeah, I might pull up in Burkina Faso this year.
Word up.
You know, it was interesting. I was supposed to go in 2019, but I canceled my my flight. Ended up going back to Sierra Leone. So,
oh man,
I'm doing a visit to Burkina Faso.
Matter of fact, bro, you need to think about business tours. Get access to these resources. Of course, create you a product, whatever you got going on. But we got access to rare earth, raw precious metals, cotton, agriculture. This is a blessing that God done blessed us with, bro. So I just wanted to put that on your mind too. Business tours, access to resources, cut out the middleman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Afro Man, go ahead, Afro Man, mute yourself.
Good evening, good afternoon, peace, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. First of all, I'm wondering, why would anyone want to travel to Burkina Faso right now anyway, given the fact that they're fighting jihadists and that spread to many parts of the country?
Afro Man, if I can interject real quick, I actually know a lady that took a tour to Burkina Faso maybe back in February. She said she loved it.
No, I'm not saying that, I mean, I've been to Burkina Faso. I'm partly from Burkina Faso. Okay, although I'm from Ghana, my grandmother on my father's side is from Burkina Faso. So I have roots there. Okay. My tribe is partly Ghanaian and partly Burkinabe. So they are members of my tribe that are living in Burkina Faso.
Burkinabe is what tribe?
It's called Kassina.
Huh?
No. Kassina. It is at the border with Ghana. So if you know anything about Ghana, you have, I just did. I said Kassina. Okay. And it is at the border. If you know Ghana, okay, there's a border town called Paga.
Yeah, that's where the Shea Butter Factory is. The town of Low. Yeah, I know all about that.
So there's Po at the border, right? So yeah, anyway, so that's my tribe, okay? So I am very familiar with Burkina Faso. If you are in Paga, my hometown in Burkina Faso is just about 30-40 minutes drive from the border with Ghana. So why would anybody at this point, if you want to travel, to Burkina Faso, I think if you're going to relocate or you're going to visit Africa, there are other countries that are more stable right now, more peaceful than Burkina Faso. That's just my opinion. Anyway, if you want to travel, I mean, go ahead.
Man, all of Africa is on edge right now. All of Africa's on edge. It can go down anywhere, any country right now. Right now.
Yeah, but right, at least there are countries that are not fighting jihadists right now. So why would you choose a country that is fighting jihadists? That's my point anyway. But anyway, and I don't want to be anticlimactic, but there's a lot of disinformation as well about Burkina Faso and President Traore. And I think a lot of people are making their decisions largely based on the disinformation about his policies and his objectives. I'm not saying that he's not a Pan-Africanist. I think he is. But some of the policies that are being paraded are actually fake. They are not true. They are not his policies. So when people say that he has rejected IMF, World Bank loans, that's false. When people say that he is paying salary to university students, that's false. When people say he has made Burkina Faso tax-free, that's false. When people say that he rejected an invitation by Trump from Trump to attend an event, a state event in the US, that's false. Okay, so there are a number of things that people associate with Traore that are not true. And I remember quite vividly, okay, we have been here before. Traore is not the first president that has enjoyed this kind of popularity, although I have to confess, the level of popularity he's enjoying is more than other presidents. But do you remember Africans and the diaspora used to say similar things about President Kagame? You have people saying the same thing about Magufuli. Today, where are they? I mean, of course, Magufuli is past. But if you analyze the policies of Magufuli and Kagame, a lot of their policies were actually anti-African and anti-African unity. So I think we need to also analyze Traore's policies impartially, objectively, okay, and find out which of the policies actually augur well for Africa and which ones are inimical to Africa.
All right, let me pass the mic to Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right, appreciate it, Donnie. Thanks for having me on, man. I did have a question for Afro, man, just to follow up real quick, though. What I only heard good things about Magufuli when I went to Tanzania, but I did hear that from somebody that he was trying to become a dictator. So, like, what specifically would you say was anti-African policies and stuff that he was pushing?
Well, for example, okay, before he passed, okay, Magufuli never signed the Africa Free Trade Act. He never signed it. Okay, it was ratified, okay, and Parliament ratified it, but it wasn't really an urgent position for Magufuli. Okay, Magufuli was more concerned about Tanzania as a nation than he was with even the sub-region that he was in,
Okay.
this East Africa.
I mean, okay. I mean, I don't see that as a bad thing, but I feel you. Yeah, as far as Ibrahim Traore goes, I do know that the average world leader in Africa is in their 60s. He's really young. A lot of the world leaders and revolutionaries usually are young, and that's kind of what's needed. Even here in America, a lot of our politicians are like real old and stuff. And I think that I don't want to call for like radical type change and stuff. I know a lot of people's like own that, but I think more drastic change is kind of needed for what we're coming into in the the 21st century, in a new day and age. It's a lot different than the world that we grew up in, and there's a lot more changes and things that's going to be happening. So I think he's kind of the face of that movement. He's kind of leading that movement. I did look into some of his policies and stuff over the last couple of years when he first overthrew the last lieutenant colonel. And he kind of spoke that he was trying to combat the terrorism as one of his top priorities in Burkina Faso. Sounds like that's still going on. I've seen some of the houses and stuff that he was building out there. Some of they had like these apartment buildings that were being built, and they're like, I think they said it was like 90% completion. So he's working on that, it seems like, and he's trying to like set his nation up on a plan for growth, it seems like, and people seem to be behind it. It could be some ulterior motives, but it depends on, I guess, what we compare it to. A lot of times we think of things how it is home with us in America, where we live in a democracy, and things is a lot different. But we're set up this way because of our own past and stuff, and they kind of have a different past, and they're gonna get to their conclusion, I think, without outside interference, but in their own way. It might not look like our version of democracy, and I don't mean that it's necessarily wrong. If he does get too authoritarian, he would have to worry about military coups and things like that. But the fact that he still has his guys on his side, and all I hear about is how they keep trying to like bribe his own people and stuff, and they don't want to go for it and all that. It's because they all believe in a certain mission. It seems like they all on the right path and stuff, and they realize that the outside influences is what's getting in the way. And he stopped. I know he stopped exporting of gold, of unrefined gold, to Europe, because it's where the money is in refined gold and stuff. And he stopped that, and he started doing the value added things there on the continent. And that's something where I feel like at this step we can get a lot of help in this with what's going on. We can kind of bring our resources and stuff to the continent, and specifically to Burkina Faso and other areas and stuff, when it comes to that value added. And I like what bro said earlier, Dynas, where if you did get some things together, I don't know your schedule, man, but I'm just saying, throwing it out there, like a business tour type thing where you work, either directly with specific carriers where people don't have to worry too much about getting scammed, or even directly with the government with like real estate, healthcare, construction, and things like that on the continent. Because there's a lot of people that's looking to invest in stuff, but a lot of people are also worried about, the scam part and stuff. I guess we got to sift through it on our own, but it's like, help with that would be, it's big business to be helped with that. But I know it's hard because you don't really know who's who. So you might, think somebody's cool or whatever, and somebody could be like, man, this dude scammed me out of $100,000 or whatever. But yeah, it's still possibilities and stuff, man. I think people's kind of ready for that next step though, and seeing the revolutionary that's kind of taking place, and you see these people having their these protests all over and stuff, man, and showing support. These gatherings and demonstrations and stuff, showing support, man. It's pretty powerful. And I remember when at the inauguration of the president, I don't remember his name, but the president of Ghana in January, when they were introducing the African leaders, he got a louder applause than the president did, Ibrahim Traore, when he was there. So I'm just like, man, it seemed like people see what he's doing and they like it. They're on board for it. So, I mean, that speaks a lot to me, man. And I'm looking to see how things go. I mean, I do want to be like still cautious and everything, but like it seemed like things is looking up on the right path and everything. So I'm happy with the direction, but if it is like a bad side or whatever, or just more to it, then I mean, I'm still looking to see where the downside is at. But from where I'm seeing everything, it looks like they're in a real good position.
All right, go ahead, too, Nigel. And let me read these super chats real quick. Thank you, Willa, for the $5 holla. May I recommend a documentary, Soundtrack to a Coup? Very relevant to the subject. Good afternoon. African Goddess, thank you for the 4,000 naira. I appreciate it. All right, go ahead, too, Nigel.
Yeah, thanks, man, and Diners, and greetings to all the panelists, including Diners, of course, and the channelists, the chats, and the viewers. I think I've been hearing quite a lot of disturbing things about Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, that they are trying to overthrow him. I think he's been in office now for 2 years or so, and I think somebody was warning, doing that's warning people about our African leaders. I think from what I can see, he seems to be doing the right things in terms of trade, natural resources of his country, trying to do away with the Islamic terrorist or insurgency that is going on in the country, and definitely kicking the French out is a definite plus. However, from my observation of history, of nations that have brought themselves out of the mess they are in, the structure I need to see on the ground is still not manifesting itself. That is my problem with what I see. The ability to defend himself is not strong enough, and he will fall sooner or later. Either he falls or he folds if he carries on like this, because that country's security posture has not changed. The defense posture has hardly changed. The military is still extremely weak. The country is still, although they do have their defense pact with the other two nations, but it would not be sufficient. And the other two nations too, they're just, I don't know what is wrong with our black leaders. I really don't know what is wrong with them. These are people bordering the border with, I think Burkina Faso or Mali, they are bordering in Algeria, that has more than 100 and something thousand, well, not 100 and something, almost 400 and something thousand soldiers, while they are making do with 6,000. Do you know that, at least on paper right now, Burkina Faso is making do with 6,000 soldiers with 40 something thousand this in conscripts as a militia? That is ridiculous. You're not going to survive America with that. You will not survive. And why they choose to remain like that, for the life of me, I don't know. I don't understand it. Either they're already compromised and they're just playing games right now, or he's going to fall. This is what Lumumba did, Sankara did, all of them. You can't, don't they understand? To survive this war, you have to be prepared. It's a war you are in. Look at all the attempts on his life. They are going to take him out. If he carries on like this, I need to see a nation that, like Eritrea has done. The reason why that Eritrean leader is still there, that even the West has given up, is that his country is highly militarized. Before you can do this type of stuff and expect to survive it, you have to be very, very strong militarily. And you have people in that country, you're not recruiting them, you're being a great leader to them. Then when they die, they start worshiping you again. What is the point of that? Why don't we just survive for once? Castro, right next door to America, survived for decades and he died of old age. Our African leaders all the way across the ocean keep falling down and dying because they are not taking their security seriously. And the so-called criminals like Tinubu, he's the one that takes it. Tinubu's security is as strong as hell. And he's a traitor. That guy, even before he became president, his convoy of cars, he's not even a president. He has more than 40 cars at the time. That's people that understand the true world you are in. If you want to really do something, you have to be prepared for all the things they will throw at you. And these guys, I'm not very certain. And now some people have been, some guys proud online that they are signing agreement with Morocco and all the rest of it. I'm like, how is Morocco a better bet? How is Morocco? Morocco is as pan-European as, in short, Morocco is more pan-European than all the North African countries. So you are running away from the traitorous African leaders to run into the hands of some of the worst wars on the continent. Morocco killed a lot of black people last year, just shot them just because they were trying to cross their border to go into this in Europe. And Traore and the AES, they call themselves, they want to go and sign agreement with Morocco. I don't understand it. If you are signing with Algeria, I can understand. Algeria is very anti-European. He's fighting France all the time. So why not go with Algeria? Why go with Morocco? Is it because Morocco is closer to the ocean from their point of view? I don't get it. The direction that they are traveling, I'm watching them and I'm hoping that what they are doing is for the right reasons. And I have to acknowledge the fact that their defense pact that they did. Can you believe that that's the first time any African countries, 2-3 African countries have come together and had a defense pact? No African country has done that. What kind of sick people are those? What kind of sick people are those? And the strange phenomenon of this is that we all know these things need to be done. And if you talk to many African countries African people on the streets, they will agree with you. Why are we not signing the defense pact? Why are we not trading with each other? But yet the leaders are doing something else. You know how it's like when you get into a bus, you can say whatever you like when you're the passenger, but when that bus driver wants to drive people into a ditch, you don't have a choice.
Hey, you got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah. When that bus driver wants to drive into a ditch, you can barely do anything because he's the one driving the bus. Just like our African leaders, they are the one driving the nation. Our people don't like what they are doing. Some of them don't even have a scope to understand what they are doing, and they are just misleading the people continuously. And we have to find a way to stop this trend where the leaders just mislead Africans.
All right, I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, say James. Go ahead, say James.
15 seconds.
Go ahead, say James. Go ahead, say James.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, say James. Say James, unmute yourself. Say James.
Hi, Dallas.
Hey, you on your Obama phone. This is a no Obama phone.
Oh, really? Okay, let somebody else speak.
Are you on speakerphone?
No, I got my headset on.
Yeah, that's a Timu Obama headset.
Okay, let me turn that on.
There. Go ahead, Pamelato.
All right, peace to the panel. Thanks for passing me the mic. And I always try to keep it brief as possible. I hope the other panelists will follow suit. But as far as Ibrahim Traore, if he's doing what's best for his country, I gotta respect that as a man, really. And I'll close it up with this. I'll land my plane with this. All the Africans living in the U.S., all the Africans living in Europe, Canada, Asia, etc., you all should feel ashamed of yourself. Go back to Africa immediately. Join the leaders of your country to develop your country and protect your country. The West doesn't need you. Your white daddy doesn't need you. Your Chinese daddy doesn't need you. The U.S., we definitely don't need you. So go back to your countries in Africa and help develop them. Really.
All right, go ahead, City. Unmute yourself, CD.
Did you call?
Unmute yourself, CD. All right, go ahead, Castro. Unmute yourself, Castro. Castro.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I just want to chime in. I want to add my 2 little cents to the whole thing. I feel like what Ibrahim Traore is doing is a lot of symbolism. I feel like the most important thing, if you're going to be the president, and the reason why he said he did the coup was because of security reasons. So if you're going to be the president, you got to be able to secure your borders and your country. You know, there are jihadists that are running amok over there. It was just 200 people that got killed last August. And it seemed like the problem ain't getting any better with the Russians because they've been there for 4 years now. Traore kicked the French out. You done had the Russians there for 4 years now. And they still can't do anything with the jihadists. They're a critically endangered species on the border of Burkina Faso and Benin. And Muslims over there just running amok, probably causing a lot of them to go extinct as we speak. So until he can get the security thing down, again, like what Nigel was saying, I can't really back anybody like that. Like, I can back someone like Kagame, because Kagame is really, really strict on security. And they have a lot of military prowess. So it's no problem with me to put my support behind that, but I can't put my support behind somebody who can't defend, somebody who what other would deem as weak. You know, that's all I gotta say.
All right, go ahead, Kofi.
Yeah, peace to the panel. Yeah, the way I see Ibrahim, I see him as like a symbolic leader, and you know, when you look at protesters from Nigeria, Ciro Wiwa, Ken Ciro Wiwa, and he was executed on orders coming from the Shell Corporation. These are the real people in power. It's a big corp. They pay the military industrial complex, and they tell the president, how to run the country and how they rule the world, and whether the president is going to be in cooperation or not. They could easily assassinate a U.S. president. It happened to Kennedy. They could easily get a president up out of there. So I think everyone needs to. There needs to be a million. Like I said yesterday, there needs to be a million Ibrahims ready to push for this ideology, and it needs to be more uh, it needs to be more technicalized, if that makes sense. I feel like he needs to hand his citizens cell phones. He needs to produce his own cell phones, and he needs to get them on a corporate level. Burkina Faso, the Sahel state, is now a corporate entity. That's how the country needs to be ran, because that's how the globalists who control the world, that's how they're running things. There's a lot of jihadists. There's a lot of jihadists. They're showing jihadists everywhere, killing civilians in Burkina Faso. And you see these big news stations showing, oh, there's 200 deaths. Oh, 400 people died, and that's them pretty much inflicting fear into the Burkina Faso people, into the Malian people, into the Nigerian people, into the African people, to say that, look, you can't win against the capitalists. You can't defy capitalism. So why even fight it? Burkina Faso needs to put out the same propaganda. Look, we killed 400 jihadists today. We got such and such leader. They could just make up a name. Who cares? As long as we know that they're fighting back, and that's the type of help that they need. I don't think people from the U.S. you know should be there. I would personally, if I was a French speaking person, I would suspect the English people first. I would say you could help from the outside, but no, you shouldn't be inside the country, because it's on wartime, and I don't know whether you're on my side or not. You don't speak the language. For those who don't speak French, um, that's that's all I have to say on that topic. I'm going to pass it off.
All right, go ahead, CD.
Hey, Danis.
How are you?
I am doing okay. So my view on, travel ban on Burkina, they've been having travel ban on them. I think Air France needs to go to Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, so they stop that. Excuse me. So they don't have notable international connection. And also, the three countries, they are landlocked countries, they don't have sea. So that's why the king of Morocco gave that opportunity for them to be getting most of their stuff through Morocco. Or Burkina, Mali, they need to get a lot of things through Ivory Coast. So because Ivory Coast is, excuse me, Ivory Coast is working with the West, they're not getting a lot of stuff, right? And they were working with Guinea. Guinea have a seed, but they realized Mamadi Doumbouya, who is the president, he's married to a French. They stopped having business with him because they were scared he could set them up. So otherwise, they had a trade deal with Guinea, and they were afraid because of security concern, because he married to a French lady, and also he's a former liaison officer that overthrew Alpha Conte. But the problem that we have in West Africa is we don't have a strong country like Kenya that represents the entire East Africa. Nigeria being a very weak country, even though they have a huge population, but Nigeria in general is just a weak. In general, they are very weak. People that are heading the system in Nigeria, I wish the Northerners in Nigeria could stand up to bring more, because this seems to be stronger than other part of the Nigerians.
What would you say about the North?
The North, they are very strong. They seems to be
the North is kind of the issue.
They are more patriotic in the sense that every Nigerian that I've met, either it's in New York or it's in Africa, you will never see Nigerians speaking positive about Nigeria. And not the Northerners. You see the Northerners, they are very patriotic. That's why they've been having
but when you look at all these when you look at all these like the Boko Haram's in the North. What are you talking about? The North is patriotic.
But the reason the temple,
I mean, the majority of like these mass killings that take place and kidnappings is all in the North.
Well, the reason these are Traore rebels, right? They just come and terrorize. I have experience with
they're not Traore rebels.
No, I'm talking in terms of Mali and Burkina Faso. They came from Libya, so they just come and hit and run. It's not like in the Liberia Civil War where they hit and try to capture the land, but they just come and hit and run. But the whole issue is we don't have a strong country in West Africa that can stand up and try to give those guys support. We don't have that. But many people look at the population of Nigeria, over 200 million population, but we don't have, they're just a sleeping giant. They make no impact on West Africa at all. They have issues in their head that they can't even take care of. How can West Africa depend on them? I wish Burkina, the amount of population that Nigeria have right now, we have the similar population in Burkina Faso. Believe me, Burkina Faso, they are very patriotic, very productive compared to the Nigerians, where they are more of like individualistic people. All the after is to certify their individual goals. So, and that's why we're struggling in West Africa. I wish we have someone that can stand up to help those guys. So they've been on sanction all these years, and I don't think that's going to have any impact on them. And I think they're going to move on. And the reason they're working with Morocco is no other country, black country, that are opening their door to them. They're all scared. They're all scared of the West. So that's what I have to say. But thank you.
All right, go ahead, Ola.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. You know, when I hear a young man like this dude is speaking, I don't know if he's from Nigeria, that it's a Nigeria week. You have to understand, the French-speaking Africans, they were already dancing with the French for a very long time. They behave like the French, they think like French, and they eat like French. You know, Nigeria as a country was always used as a bogeyman, that even the France started setting this military base under the guise that don't trust in Nigeria, Nigeria will invade you. Some of them, when Nigeria came up with progressive things, they will be the one that will kick against it. You know, Ivory Coast was always a country like that. Niger, Mali, and other things. Sometimes they can just be pissed off Nigeria that Nigeria did come and give the money. That Nigeria is rich. Nigeria come and give the money, give the others, all their past leaders. You have to understand the leaders that are ruling Nigeria today, they are not different from those leaders then. How about Cameroon? When Cameroon killed 5 Nigerian soldiers, Nigeria retaliated immediately by sending some type of mobile police at that time. What did the French did? They said, yeah, we will protect Cameroon. They bring in their soldiers, they bring everything. Then at that time, Shagari said, okay, let's see then. You come from far, we'll take care of you. Just by our policemen alone. So Nigeria actually, Nigeria was always very careful. One, because of our size. Two, because of our military power. They were always very, very careful. The British were not really backing up like that. But we were very independent mind. So don't blame Nigeria. Some of this, we're only just looking. Are these French people really going to do the right thing? Are they really real? You know, before you start the society stock broad and crescent, they say, oh, don't mind the Anglophone Nigeria, they are this, they are that. We just watching what's actually going on. You see, Burkina Faso have to free themselves, you know, for whatever they're doing. They have to stand, the people have to stand, and by freeing themselves, then you can say that people will join them. When Nigeria always tell them, free yourself, why don't you control your economy yourself? The British was the one printing Nigeria pounds. Nigeria knock it off or print the Naira. You know, if you check the English, that's what Nigeria and Ghana are very close. But not Ghana, it's Togo that is close to us, but we don't even trust Togo like that. Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone. These are our closest ally that we really trust, that are what called free-minded. You know, so don't blame Nigeria for, say, Kenya. Nigeria would be like Kenya. You know, I understand the puppet now is a little bit straight to us. This puppet that is ruling now, Tinubu, is the highest puppet we ever seen in our life, compared to any other ones. Burkina Faso have to, they're very strong people. They fought Bagbo. They are mercenaries. You understand me? They've been using them as mercenaries for a very long time. The French against Ivory Coast. You know, the so-called leader in Ivory Coast now is a Burkina Faso man. He migrated to that place. So we have to study the history of the French-speaking people. If they know, maybe they change now. We as Nigerians, way back when we were dealing with them, these people think exactly like a Frenchman. You know, French is their fatherland. They will tell you straight. You know, even Senegal. You know, so we don't trust these French-speaking West Africans because they be behind spoilers ever since everybody want to unite. They think like French people, they act like French people. We have to see how actually they don't really want the Frenchman, which is their fatherland. They always say fatherland, fatherland, fatherland. Then before the English West Africa say, okay, you people are done well, we can dance with you people. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, let me guys, link to the chat room if you want to call in and add to the convo. Link is in the chat room. Also, make sure you hit that like button. Let me read this last super chat. Lion Champion, thank you for 499 pounds. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger regularly show their armies taking out terrorists. Watch BF1, ORTM, and other Sahel news channels. They are on YouTube.
Yeah, if I can add something, you know, the last time I forgot myself. You know, I'm used to hosting channels and I talk, and nobody stops me. But I forgot that I'm only a panelist here. It's all right. I think what Ola said is quite pertinent because I did speak to a presidential candidate in Nigeria, and I asked why is it that the AES are the first to form a defense pact in Africa, at least Black Africa anyway, and he said that when they were in ECOWAS, the Francophone countries often brought up France and that they were not keen on forming anything like that. That is why ECOWAS, even if they had ECOMOG, it wasn't a defense pact. And all these things, it just shows you that the French have always been in there. And other times, the British and the Americans are also there to causing their own confusion. The point is that they are all playing a role to keep us where we are at the moment. So for better or for worse, they have relationship with Russia. Russia had relationship with China. This was Syria, I mean, and look at what happened to Syria. The kind of relationship we should be forming with these people are really, really strong ones, not this. I don't know, man. Personally, I'm just so comfortable. I don't like the idea that every time they are trying to kill him. And I really hope that we as a people try to back him as much as possible. Because we don't want a leader that is trying to do the right thing, keep getting knocked off like that. Because we do not have access to power. But I like what I'm seeing because on the internet, a lot of people are talking about it. You know, my YouTube is all full of Traore. So it's a good thing. And if you're going to go and match, if I'm free, I will go and match too. Why not? What are am I doing? If we have a leader that is trying to do the right thing and these Western people are trying to kill him, if they go in there and try to bomb that country, they will wake up. They wake us up. I hope they go there and try to bomb that country. Let them not send a black person. Let the white people go there and bomb that country. And then they wake 1.4 billion black people up in the world.
And let me ask you and Ola a question. This is to Ola and to Naja. Why aren't you in Africa creating the change that you want to see in Nigeria?
Do you know what I do every day? Do you know what I do every other day? I host a channel where I talk to more than 500 people at a time, talking about all these things. So stop, don't give me that. We do stuff all the time. I'm on the ground in Nigeria too. So when we are talking, we're actually doing things.
You change Donald Trump, or what is your change in America?
All right, that's a deflection. I'm asking, why aren't you in Nigeria?
What's your change? No, I'm asking you, what's your change in America? I'm a capitalist. I do what I want to do. I'm free to do whatever I want to do. I'm a free thinker.
Yes.
So,
I'm asking a direct question, and don't be triggered. Don't be emotional. Don't be triggered or emotional. I'm asking a simple question.
I think you're crazy. Just stop that shit.
Simple question, brother. All right,
no, I've already answered it now. I'm doing stuff. We are busy every single day. If you come on my channel, you will see it every Saturday, Sunday. We are hosting these shows.
Hold on, Tunaja. Let me complete my sentence. Let me complete my sentence. I'm not asking you about the internet. I'm asking you two Nigerians why you don't live in Nigeria to develop Nigeria. Simple question.
Sometimes you have to travel outside to be able to get wealth. Why is it that we as black people are the most restricted people from movement?
And let me respond to that. Let me respond.
And then after you respond, I got to pass it to Dark Tempest because he's been waiting.
Watch how brief my response is. To Naja and Ola, don't you realize that when you abandoned Nigeria, you made it easier for the Chinese to usurp your resources?
Why don't you ask them what they're doing instead of
That's
just
ridiculous.
saying that they're abandoning them because they're not there, though? Like, that whole question that you set up is just set up wrong, man.
That's just ridiculous.
You don't know what they're doing. You could have been like, hey, are y'all doing anything grassroots in Nigeria from abroad?
And let me respond to you, brother. You don't have,
the Bolsheviks were overseas when they came back. The Bolsheviks, Lenin and Stalin and all of them, they were overseas before they returned home to.
All right, but let me dialogue with them. Let me respond to the Black American brother. They don't need you to booty clap for them, Black American. These Nigerians, they need to go fix.
I'm asking you.
Exactly, you're booty clapping.
So what's your answer?
So let them answer.
Right? I'm asking you.
All right, you asked me why I'm asking them why they're not in the country to fix it.
Bro, Johnny, you can pass it. I don't want to take
it. Let me pass it to Dark Tempest. Go ahead, Dark Tempest.
I got my shirt messed up and all that stuff. But anyway, tonight, I'm very glad that you're still ahead of time as well. And like most of these people, there are people that like to be edgelords. And edgelord is somebody that likes to be contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian. They like to be controversial just for the sake of being contrarian. They have no point to make as well. You see, Burkina Faso situation, these people have been dealing with a specific security issue, both from Mali and Burkina Faso. It's a security issue, and they have to employ the best means necessary to kind of deal with this specific security issue. It's not a Pan-Africanist movement, this AES. It's not Pan-Africanist. I wish it was. It's a Pan-Africanist in an essence. We all have solidarity towards it, but they have a specific security issue in which sometimes they might even work with Russia, China, whoever can advantage them. And they've been making gains in that front. So nobody has anything to complain about. You understand what I'm saying? So the other aspect is if they have settled themselves, then they will move into other aspects of Pan-Africanism, which is much more complex than it is. But I look at them and say they have a security problem, an insecurity problem, and they are employing the best that they can do to deal with it. And I like what they do in terms of renationalizing of most of the resources from the. I don't think anybody can go against renationalization. Even the UK is looking to renationalize some of its resources from the austerity measures that were in 2008 as well. So I think most people are just are being contrarian for being a contrarian sake. That's simply it. Tunaja, thank you very much for still sticking to your guns. Don't let anybody bully you.
That is, can I say something? Because sometimes people get it wrong that not too long ago, Nigeria have to bribe some of these countries for our own security. Where Boko Haram was going to Niger to hide and Mali to hide and all these things, Nigeria have to start constructing railway to Niger. You know, have to start concentrating other things, power, a lot of things, just to fight Boko Haram. Nigeria have to sponsor their rapid force that the so-called West Africans, the Sahel, and the Nigerian government were doing at that time. You understand me? So we see help.
But who was in charge? Isn't it the person that got deposed?
Hold on.
That
so
was in charge.
Also involved. So they were playing games with us, with our security.
Yeah, but the person that was working for the French in the government, got deposed and he got cool.
Yeah. But you see, mentality don't change like that. Where these soldiers were already there at that time. So we have to pay even for the so-called fake rapid force they formed, but behind the scene they were working with the French people, French government. So we have to pay them.
Kidola, the government that got deposed in Burkina Faso, the government that got deposed in Niger, Burkina Faso, is the government that was frustrating Nigeria. The current government is the one that's dealing with the actual problem.
I understand. See, we like Traore, we like them, but we want to see, because look, my brother, once you are French, it's very difficult for you to dislodge as French. You know what I'm saying? Because your rotation, your military training, the way you talk, the way French people make you, French assimilate them into their way of thinking. You understand me?
I don't think your criticism is completely solid, because if they were French thinking, they would not. If they were thinking, they will not invite the Chinese, the Russians, and all other external parties to kind of, although Tunaja might not agree, to kind of provide expertise in dealing with the terrorism in the situation in the country, or the internal security, or the personal security. You see what I mean? So they are not thinking entirely French. These are not a French
this
brigade.
Security came into the fore because the jihadist doesn't know border.
Brother, they speak French. You speak English. What's the difference? Y'all both Africans.
Man, it's a pity to have to talk to this Socratic dude, man.
I'm asking a simple question.
You know, he asked me why I'm not in Nigeria. He doesn't know if I'm in Nigeria.
You speak English. They speak French.
You know,
y'all both Africans. Y'all can't team up as Africans.
Kidola, hundreds of people die in Nigeria from 2015. Hundreds of people die in Nigeria every week, and you guys have not been able to manage it. Hundreds of people keep dying like that. Say, why are people dying in Nigeria just like that? It's like life means nothing. Life means nothing in Nigeria.
Those people are coming from Niger, Chad, and
so why are you complaining when these people are trying to curb that?
You saved them from that logical question. Hold on, please. They speak French. You speak English. Y'all can't team up as Africans. Simple question.
Be quiet,
and this is why Pan-Africanism is not working.
I don't want to talk to an ignorant person like him.
This is why Pan-Africanism.
Let him shut up. This guy's an idiot.
Let him answer this though.
Because this guy,
be quiet, my guy.
This guy's like Fat Joe.
All right, but one might get a time. This is why Pan-Africanism.
It's always pumping into Africa. It's not African, but I don't understand what Fat Joe and Big Punisher know about Africa. So I can let somebody else go.
All right. Back to the question that you're trying to win away from.
Don't mind this guy. Hold on,
but one might get a time. Hold on, for the listeners, one might get a time. For the listeners, one might get a time. The question is, they speak French, you speak English. Y'all can't team up as Africans? Checkmate.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You're an idiot.
And this is why Pan-Africanism is not working.
You're a pillar. You're a pillar.
Have you heard of ECOWAS?
You know what's a pillar?
ECOWAS comprises French and English-speaking countries. So I don't think you are correct. ECOWAS has both French-speaking and English-speaking countries.
Exactly. So why can't you team up with the Burkina Faso and Nigeria? Why y'all can't team up?
This guy's Latino. Is from Puerto Rico. I don't know why he doesn't know anything about.
And I'm in my country. You're not in yours.
But let it be. See. But what the question is asking?
Hold on.
Asking it in a cynical manner.
The question doesn't make sense.
Why we haven't gotten together is not exactly.
We be trying to dialogue.
Answer that question. You can't run. Stop booty clapping.
It's irritating.
Hold stop booty clapping.
Get rid of this idiot. He's derailing the conversation.
We've been trying to dialogue ever since. We've been trying to form a currency.
You're trying to booty clap, Ola. You're an African booty clapper. The question is, why can't you team up with other Africans, even though they
in America, you probably lost people a lot. It seems like people that come out of YouTube, they're crazy.
All right, that's a deflection. I'm asking, why can't you team up with French-speaking Africans?
Man, Diana, please shut this guy up. He's derailing the conversation. Like, this guy is really
I
fucking
think
interrupting
okay,
the
okay. Let me just try to answer. Let me just try to answer.
Well, what guy? Okay, answer his question.
Let me just try to answer.
One mic, Pamela. Don't, guys. One mic.
Let me just answer now.
Answer the question and don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
You're a very young man.
Jesus
You
Christ,
don't know much.
Go ahead, Nigel.
Yeah, the reason why we've not been able to work with the French, from what a presidential candidate that has worked at that level said, he said that the French countries have defense agreement with the French, and the French have military bases in there. So even if they had ECOWAS, and ECOWAS had a force that could have started behaving like NATO. But because of those strategic relationships they have with the French, that the French Francophone countries refuse to give up for whatever reason, that is why African countries are fragmented. And the same thing happened with all the other African countries. 40-something African countries, 40-something of them have as much manpower.
Man, let them finish.
Let me finish. 40-something black countries in Africa have as much manpower in their security forces as 4 North African countries. That tells you the kind of relationship many of our countries have with Western powers.
Tunaja, I know you to be a very intelligent man.
Yeah, you didn't answer the question, but go ahead. God damn.
I know you to be an intelligent man, and I have deep respect. I have deep.
God help you.
I have deep.
Let me pass the Cuddy, because Cuddy's in Burkina Faso. Go ahead, Cuddy.
I'm gonna answer Mulatto question, right? The reason they not here is because they not built for revolution. They'd rather be comfortable on the outside looking in.
Exactly.
Because all the countries that's outside the AES, they keep talking about Nigeria back then. We talking about right now. Right now, it's a change going on. Like Mulatto said, you need to get your ass back to Nigeria and help Nigeria change. They could get Tinubu up out of there and y'all come join the AES. If you in Liberia, y'all need to go there, kick America up out of there, because America runs Liberia, and get access, control of your resources, and come join the AES. So all the countries, all y'all Africans that's outside of Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Ghana working on it, Senegal working on it, Namibia is working on it, Chad is working on it. So if you're from Nigeria, all them other countries, y'all need to go home, get control of your governments, and put your foot down and stop letting these colonizers control. Like my African brother talking about the French people. The French people, we kicked the French out, bro. America still runs Nigeria. The oil mafia still runs Nigeria. So you need to get to Nigeria and help that brother that's trying to down there build a refinery, and the white people banning him from his own fatherland. Exactly. He can't even, and Nigeria got more oil than Saudi Arabia, and y'all can't get access to y'all resources. So
this will fix Nigeria first.
In diaspora, tighten up. And I'm gonna leave it off.
Mandiga, you're right. They should fix Nigeria first before they start complaining about other regions.
All right, guys, let me read this super chat. Omega Dreads Gaming Channel, thank you for 1999 holla. Trump said, "Give back to y'all brother." Okay, all right, go ahead.
Let me go, bro. Let me reply that young man. You see, history. If you don't know history, if you think the French is out, I think you're joking. If you don't know history, then you have to learn history. History is way back. When Nigeria was being formed as a country, after the Biafra War, when the federal government, when the federal won that war, the French was in a way cutting in towards the Biafra. When they lost, they were a little bit careful. You can't tell me when Nigeria was fighting Boko Haram, nobody came to help Nigeria to fight Boko Haram for all these years. Fighting Boko Haram that were coming from these places, and they know they were coming from these places. These military generals that took over power now, they were there when this Boko Haram were coming from these places. Nigeria have to even pay money for them to form what called Iraqi forces, right? behind the scene, they will hold a meeting with the Frenchman. Why the French behind the scene?
Kidola, don't let me
Hold on,
disrespect
bro.
you,
Hold on. Because you don't know what is going on in between that area. The French were behind bringing the things.
Expect disrespect from me.
And doing other things. How long we fighting Boko Haram now? For more than 10 years. With no single help. They just stay by the border. But behind this, they were holding meeting. Even this thing, Nigeria still built a railway, road, and everything to Niger Republic. That dude that take off, that they overthrow, it was just play double game. Ivory Coast was doing the same thing also. How about the ECOWAS, currency? Well, all of them hold the meeting. Ghana, Nigeria, agree. So date when they will launch that currency. What happened for nowhere? All the Francophone team up and started giving an excuse. That is history. History.
Kidola, let me give you an overview of what. Let me give you an overview of what exactly happened, and I will stay away from disrespect because I'll stay away from disrespect at the moment and all that stuff, right? So we can say right now, pertaining to the security issue as well, the Burkina Faso, since what they've lost, they've recovered about 70% of their territory since this new government has came in place. Before that, you had puppet governments that were controlled by France. These governments that frustrated any integration at the African Union level and any integration at the ECOWAS level. You can tell that by how Ivory Coast got the ECOWAS currency to be pegged to the euro, how they suggested that idea. So the French aim was to kill the idea of the ECO. You see what I'm saying? Like either we control this ECO or we kill it. So they use people like the ECOWAS. You got this new government emerging, disturbing the system, and you still want to complain. And Nigeria are there doing whatever they're doing, whatever hanky-panky they're doing. They still got Fulanis to deal with. They still got terrorism to deal with. You want to complain about people that are trying to reclaim their national resources. Kidola, give me a break, bro. Give me a break. Like, to me, Nigeria is the most shameful nation right now in history. The most shameful nation in history at the moment. You know what I mean? Nigeria should be at the leadership of this. Nigeria should be strengthening itself, just like the UK could be strengthening itself if it was part of this. But Nigerians are cowards. Okay, sorry, not Nigerians. Nigerian politicians are cowards.
You was right the first time.
Hey, let me pass the mic to Royal Image. Go ahead, Royal Image. Let me pass Royal Image. Go ahead, Royal Image. Unmute yourself.
Right now, I'm just trying to catch the vibe. I just came on, so I'm not really too sure what's going on.
Well, don't take up a spot, brother. If you ain't ready, y'all can't be. Don't take up a spot, man.
Bro,
I mean, come on, man.
Let me tell you one thing. When Nigeria was fighting to keep,
vibe in the chat. Like, don't come onto the panel if you ain't ready, guys. Links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Click on the link. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch on.
My bro, it seems like because Nigeria is having their own internal problem. We have our own internal security we're fighting with. This Fulani you're talking about, this Delhi Fulani came from Mali. These are not Nigerian Fulani. These are Fulani that wear wigs. The Fulani from Nigeria, they're not so as brutal than the one we see that came from Mali. So you have to understand, Nigeria is fighting some kind of group of people that came from the Sahel.
So how are you complaining when the Sahelian government?
We don't complain. We don't complain. Nigeria never complain. But
so support them. So support the cause. We just have
to see how these guys were able to handle the French. You know,
Kidola, you have no point. I'm sorry, you have no point.
We went to die in Liberia.
You have no point.
Hold on.
You have no point.
We went to die in Liberia. Did they give us a World Cup for it? We went to die in Liberia. Even when Tinubu were making that process, he's going to invade Niger. Nigeria said, don't go there. Don't go there because it's not our problem. It's not our problem. Don't ever
they did invade. Even if they did invade, it's obviously unfortunate for West Africa. But Nigeria, you people overhype yourself, to be honest. I think you actually overhype your capability. You know what I mean? You don't have the power to destroy them.
I would understand where you're from. So that if I think I'm overhappy, I would know where you're from. So that we will understand.
I know Nigeria can try to destroy
I would have liked to know where you're from, so that If you know, because
that's
Nigeria never
irrelevant anyway.
invade. Hold on. Nigeria never invade any African country. Nigeria never invade or even threaten any African country. We'll be very careful due to our
Kidola,
size.
let me give an example. Unfortunately,
do your soldiers, hold on. Do your soldiers ever die in Sierra Leone and Liberia, even Somali at one particular time?
Kidola, let me give an example. Kidola, let me give an example.
I would like to know. Are you from Gambia?
Let me give you an example.
Hold on. If you're from Gambia, right? If you're from Gambia, that your leader that they chase out, whatever I forget his name. If Buhari was not, they asked him to go. Would they go? You know, is Nigeria not a friendly military country to Gambia? So if you talk we overhappy ourselves. It's about we know what
we're talking about little old Gambia. This is little.
I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Willie. Go ahead.
Hold on, Diners. One more thing.
It's Willie's turn. Go ahead, Willie.
Well, I mean, he will get the floor back. He will get the floor back because I'm saying, like, as a Black American, when I hear a lot of the confusion going on over there on the continent, what incentive would I have to get involved if I don't even know my place? A lot of times it's said that Africa needs to handle Africa and America should just mind its business, and that kind of includes me. So I'm saying, like, do we even have a place in this conversation as Blacks in America? Just from me listening.
There's two things you can do. You can either look at Africa as a place to benefit in terms of business, or sit your ass down in the United States and vote for Africa's interest in the United States. You can sit your ass down.
Hell no. We ain't voting for y'all. No, we voting to benefit ourselves.
You can either sit your ass down, you know, and vote for Africa's interest, because the United States.
We're not voting for y'all. No.
Nah, but hold on, though. Those are my only two options, right? I also could vote for things that may benefit me here and not benefit you. So what I'm saying is, if we are supposed to establish this connection,
what are those things? What are those things exactly that could benefit you to the detriment of Africa, that could benefit you in the long run?
So when we're talking about politics here in America, right, you're talking about groups that are set up to govern, right? So they do what's called pork belly laws and bills, where they just pack stuff on top of stuff, right? What I'm saying is they may pack something in these packages that doesn't positively affect the continent, but it may benefit me here if I'm only thinking about myself. So
like
I'm trying to understand.
Really, like you give him an example. Give him an example, please.
Even in terms of the military complex and what we know they're doing, right? There may be a bill out there that funds billions of dollars into this complex, but I may get one thing that I want here in America. Come on, Dynasty, you know how American politics works.
No, but
what exactly?
Hold on. Be specific.
Sorry, Dynasty.
Right, I'm talking. You know the term. What is it? Pork belly bills, right? Where they pack stuff on top of stuff. So in order for you to get this, you have to agree to me having that. What I'm saying is, why would it be in my interest to prioritize the conflicts on the continent? If in being honest, when I listen to the brothers who are from there, it's a lot of confusion. And if I had to make a FanDuel bet, right, it would be hard for me to bet on the brother in Burkina Faso, no matter how much I'm rooting for him. That makes sense?
Nope.
No.
Probably not.
I don't see any benefit that you can actually scrounge from this entire situation in a way, apart from little compets that doesn't benefit your whole entire, maybe you individually as a Black American, but not the wider Black American community. I think it makes you guys weak if you don't, like, you can look at how the United States work, right? How the United States work. The United States is a powerful nation that every other nation with money can lobby into as well.
But wait, my brother, how does your conflict make me weak?
it doesn't make you any stronger if Africa is in conflict. It doesn't make you any stronger.
I wouldn't
But some
disagree
people
with
can
that.
advantage from it.
First of all,
I
let's
wouldn't
understand that,
necessarily
okay, that America should
wouldn't
actually even
disagree.
stay out of the situation. It is America that actually started this situation in the Sahel region by bombing Libya. I think America has already done enough.
Don't
America
worry
has
about
done
that. This
enough.
guy's delaying. This
We
guy's
don't
And we
even
got
delaying.
the
need
same
you
enemy.
to
Where's Kidola?
We got the same
Kidola.
enemy. It's crazy. I just live in
Hold
the
on.
South.
Wall Street. I'll catch you on Kezo's channel and all that stuff. Kidola, I know you're angry about how it is that Sahelian nations hadn't worked with Nigeria to deal with these situations because you had puppet presidents like that guy that was in Niger, and then you had the other presidents in Mali and all that stuff. So they hadn't worked with Nigeria. But you have right now these governments that are dealing with the terrorism point blank. Unfortunately, the Fulani communities are coming out as the ones affected because somehow some of them harbor the Wahhabism. You understand what I mean? So this Ibrahim Traore and that are dealing with the Fulanis. So how is that a problem for you, Kidola, when they are dealing with Fulani?
The people that's causing the problems are sponsored by America and France. Why can't all y'all get that through y'all big ass head?
Yeah. There's nuances there.
France, they are sponsoring the terrorists. Boko Haram and all these people are sponsored by the West.
True, there's nuances there. But Kidola, I'm saying, if the governments are dealing with the Fulanis at the moment, are dealing with the terrorists, how is that not making any inroads or any benefit to Nigeria at the moment? Because if they didn't, you will have after Yoruba land is about they took Ilorin. Fucking shit. Yoruba land is about to be taken over by Fulanis. I mean, I don't have any problems with Fulanis. I love Fulanis and all that stuff. But that Islamist nonsense that is in their head, that jihadism that's in their head, is the reason why I think these leaders are programmatic, and I don't give a fucking shit. If I was in power, trust me, I will fucking evaporate. I'll evaporate some people from this planet. That's my point.
Cutty, I wanted to ask you a question. You're in Burkina Faso at the moment. What currency are you using there?
We're getting ready to switch from the CFA to the Sira. They're getting ready to make their own currency, the AES. I'm glad you asked that. Yeah.
When are they planning?
That's another problem, ain't it?
Yeah, if they're still using the currency controlled or influenced by the French can still affect the economy of Burkina Faso. Did they give a date when they'd actually change that currency?
It should be give it about another month because they got to do their meetings and I guess
it's not another month. It's not another month. Look at it. Even if a stable government like Senegal, hold on. Even a stable government like Senegal,
is ready right now. But everybody just waiting on the dollar to fall. While y'all on that side,
hold on.
Once the dollar dies, the backups are already being planned. Is what y'all don't even realize. Y'all don't even realize it.
Yeah, but let's be real. If you depending on the dollar to fall, I mean not fall, but die.
It's
right?
inevitable.
Like fall to some critical
level. The dollar is the 10th strongest currency. Bahrain, Jordan, and Oman currencies are stronger than the dollar, bro. It's inevitable. So prepare yourself.
So do you know what they're gonna?
Hey, remember you heard it here on Dinah's show first. Prepare yourself.
When they change their currency, do you know what the Burkina Faso are gonna base it on for its value?
They're gonna back it by gold.
Gold
that they're getting out of the ancient tombs that Mansa Musa used to get his gold from.
Let me get in on here. Hillary, even a stable nation like Senegal are realizing, because a lot of the French countries hold the levers to power and the levers to finance, the Senegalese are going through it in a very kind of like surgical way. They're not going through it. They're not going through it in ways we cut them off straight away. The Senegalese are dealing with it. Burkina Faso, in terms of governance, they went about it in a hammer and a wrench. You understand what I mean? But the financial aspect needs to be properly done in a surgical way. You cannot blame them for that. It takes time. It takes time to develop. Even the Chinese, it takes time to kind of wean yourself away from the dollar. It's gonna take time.
Ready.
You
The dollar
understand?
gonna
So
fall.
you cannot
BRICS
blame them and
is
say, oh,
already ready.
why haven't they gotten away from the franc? This is years, decades of integration. It's not gonna
A
come
new
off
currency would be a big mistake given the current situation in
Why
Burkina
would you rush
Faso,
something? Why would
Niger,
you rush a
and
man to
Mali.
die?
It would be a
The
big
man is
mistake right
already
now.
dying. Let him die on out, right? Right? Correct? Do
In
everybody
any
agree?
case, there is
If your
nothing. There
granddaddy
is
is dying, you just let him die on out. You don't just kill him, right? Can I get a right from everybody? Or would you kill your granddaddy off because he old? Or do you just let him die off?
No, we
Let
get
him die off, right? Can I get a yes? Can I get an amen in the panel?
we get your point, brother, for sure.
Okay.
Hold
then.
on.
So
Hold on.
prepare
Tonight,
yourselves for the
sorry for arguing.
inevitable. You can Google it right now. The USD is number 10. I gotta exchange it every day.
One of the key points in the structural adjustment programs that they recommend to Africa is devaluation of our currencies. Devaluation of we devalue our currencies so that it's easier for them to buy our resources as well. They recommend this kind of stuff to us. Make your currencies cheaper so we can buy your resources as well. So, Hillary, I don't see any problem wrong to kind of adjust or balance that situation. Like, they tell you devalue your currency so that you can export to us as well.
The devil
Has
don't
that
like
been anything?
bills.
Because of that situation, we have not produced anything. We have just exported resources.
I know that's why I mentioned it, because if they're still using a currency that's controlled by the French, it's going to be very difficult for them to attain military.
No, it ain't, because when the American dollar died, the CFA gonna die right with it, along with the euro, along with the rest of the Western currencies. That's why Trump going so hard with this tariff war, and he's losing.
When do you think the
Currencies
dollar will
around
die?
the world fail.
While
How
America
does that
can't import and
benefit this
export nothing.
African currency?
The problem with Africa
Google
is
it,
the
Sira,
fact that
S-I-R-A.
Hold on, my guy. The problem in Africa is the fact that we're divided into these tiny, smaller nations and all that stuff, and we can't become regional states and all that kind of stuff.
Let's go.
Right, so because of this, we have like false currencies and all that kind of these currencies. Like, oh, yeah, I don't want to buy this because they can just go to another country and buy. So we have no unified policy in any region as well. So these tiny nations cannot deal with the China and cannot deal with the Europe as well. So this and even if they detangle it from Europe, you're still a tiny currency. You understand what I mean? So we need to deal at a regional scale and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, we do have puppets in Nigeria, puppets in Burkina Faso, and puppets in Ivory Coast, and puppets in other West African nations that still sign in to these people. You should be complaining about them, Hillary. You should be complaining about those people that sign up to the franc, not the people that are trying to wean themselves off this slavery.
Those people, I already complain about those people, but I'm just talking about if they're gonna achieve Burkina supremacy, it's gonna be hard if they're still using that currency. That's the fact. So I hope they change to the new one as soon as possible. But when they change to the new one, it's then up to them to try and get the value of that currency to be powerful, so they can use it not just within their country but internationally.
And that's a global game. I actually agree with that. Like
a stable nation like Senegal is approaching this surgically. Is approaching this surgically to kind of remove themselves from this contract. So Senegal is approaching this surgically. But you do have a situation where, let me make this evident, when the rest of West Africa sign up to the ECOWAS situation, including Nigeria, Ghana, and every region, Ivory Coast went and said to the Francophone and France and said, fine, we will sign into this, but it has to be backed by the euro. Ivory Coast signing, it has to be backed by the euro. Kidola, you should be complaining about Ouattara, not Ibrahim Traore.
It don't have to be backed by the euro. Ivory Coast just kill it. And the other French people.
But you should be complaining. You should be complaining. You should be complaining about Ivory Coast.
The other French countries.
Excuse me. There are other countries in West Africa that have done it before. Guinea has its own currency, right? And they've been having it for years, and they are more stable, have bigger economy than Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger, right? And also,
they use CFA.
No, they don't use CFA. They use Guinea franc. Guinea Conakry uses. They don't use CFA. They use
CFA.
Yeah,
It's
they
a
use
French.
Guinea franc. So they've been
French
contract.
note.
And before
Yeah,
they
same
could
thing.
get during the time of
Yep.
Modibo Keita in Mali,
They right
Mali
next
has
door,
its
I
own
know.
currency before, right?
Wait
And
a
it was the
minute, did you
French
say
team that
Guinea?
came Modibo Keita who took independence from Mali and brought Moussa Traore. So that's why Mali, when Moussa Traore came as a military leader, then he went and took France CFA. But before, Mali had its own currency and they had better economy at that time.
Wait, are you talking about Guinea-Bissau? Are you talking about Guinea-Bissau?
No,
Aren't
not
they?
Guinea-Bissau.
He's talking about Conakry. He's talking about Conakry. He's talking about Conakry. And how easy has it been for the Russians to kind of take resources away? Russians and Chinese take resources away from Guinea with no results because they don't have.
Guinea is the only country that is fully independent in West Africa. You should
The
understand
fact
that.
simply is we need a single currency for our region. We need to operate regionally. This is a fact. This is a reality. It's as real as the UK getting back into the euro. It's as fucking
let me
real
tell
as
you,
that.
you talking
If you
about
fuck
Senegal,
around, you're losing.
You talking about
British
Senegal?
pound is
Senegal
worth
is
more
no
than the
way.
euro. Why would they
Hey,
do
Senegal
that?
can get out.
Hey, guys, let me pass the mic to Patrick. Let me pass the mic to Patrick. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Dinus.
Hey.
Yeah, yes. I'm listening on the conversation, and I've heard everything you guys are talking about West Africa, the situation with Burkina Faso and Nigeria, and why things are happening the way they're happening. I want to address the gentleman in the red cap. What's your name? Sorry, I can't really.
You call me Cuddy.
Call me Cully. Yeah, I agree with you to an extent. As far as today, when it comes to the circumstance with Burkina Faso, I think it got to a point where Captain Traore realized, things that were going on in his country, and he toppled the regime, took over and started to implement certain things because he started to understand how things were working against Burkina Faso from a Western perspective, as far as the manipulation, the fact that the government wasn't doing things that he saw on the ground as a soldier fighting the terrorists. The other thing is the Fulanis coming into Nigeria. That's the other point is some of them are being imported. Of course, there is a local Fulani tribe in Nigeria from the beginning.
They from there. Fulanis and the Tuaregs are from these areas. They are tribes that's been here for thousands of years. The Tuaregs been here the longest.
I definitely know that. The Tuaregs are a Bedouin tribe that have been in the desert in North Africa.
For centuries.
For centuries, I know that. But
Fulani too.
Yes, I know that. But the Fulanis in Nigeria, the reason why Nigeria is getting unstable, even though the Fulanis are in Guinea, the Fulanis are in some parts of Mali and also in Senegal.
Liberia, they run the money in Liberia.
Yeah, money in Liberia. I'm Liberian. I come from Liberia. Run the money. But the problem,
you got to talk to a Fulani to cash some money, don't you?
Yes, they do businesses and
that's all over West Africa. They do the money exchange.
All over, exactly.
But the problem here is the North. They had the Hausas there. They had the Fulanis. Now, military in Nigeria were Fulani to some extent, to include Buhari. I'm sure Abacha was as well. I think I could be wrong, but Ibrahim Babangida is a Fulani as well. And then, so over time, because of the infiltration and things that weren't going accordingly, because a lot of the North in Nigeria were dissatisfied and disenfranchised because there's a lot of poverty and impoverishment there. But due to the fact that the South, there was still some tensions between the North and the South when it came to certain things. Most of the time, the North was neglected by the federal government when it came to infrastructure. And then the politics in Nigeria has a lot of internal problems as far as politics and how the government runs. It's a very complicated situation. But now what these guys decided recently past Boko Haram, which started in 2014, was the Fulanis decided that they were going to take charge of everything. And they had their plan set up to infiltrate Nigeria gradually. So when Boko Haram started and they were causing a lot of chaos up there, what the Fulanis decided to do, because a lot of them are nomadic, they have cattle and they graze and do other things. They decided to use that front to bring in more and more marauders into the country. And then gradually they started to take charge of the government by buying out some of the other Muslim like a lot of Yorubas are Muslims too, so they started to religiously align themselves with other Muslim-based tribes, especially the ones that were having a power base, and they started to work through them by making it seem like they were politically working together, but on the other hand, they were just making more room to come into the country. And so what they did with the North, when they took certain areas, they installed their emirs there and brought in other Fulanis from other areas to back them up with more manpower. And so that's the problem going on in Nigeria right now. But they're coming under the mask of banditry and marauding, but really they're trying to set up themselves real strong in Nigeria. The problem is there's a lot of this. The problem is the southeasterners and the southwesterners, mainly the ones in the Delta, the Yorubas and the Igbos, have a lot of. They don't really have a coalition of trust. I mean, there's so many other tribes in Nigeria. We can't exclude them, but the power base, the political base, don't really have. They're not cohesive. There's a lot of, I don't know if that's the correct word, uncohesiveness between the tribal groups. So they don't trust, they don't work together too well. So the whole country is kind of fragmented in a certain way. So it gives these guys the opportunity to gradually come and cause chaos. And then in the scenes in the military, since a lot of them have high military positions, the generals who are mostly Northerners and some of the Fulanis, they're able to cause a lot of disruption. So, for instance, if they have troops stationed here and they know that the militants are in this region, instead of sending the troops there to go and get rid of them, they will go and backdoor the command. And then if they say this major has been authorized by this group to go attack, they'll backdoor them and say, hey, you're authorized by General so-and-so not to do that. You stay back, and then they'll take their tribal people who are soldiers to go there and make sure that that doesn't happen. There's a lot of that going on in Nigeria right now. So there's a lot of problems whilst they're taking things over. So that's the issue with Nigeria right now. Unfortunately, the government, Tinubu and them, I think he's kind of out of touch, or he just doesn't care, or he's weak. So he doesn't really concern himself with that. It's gotten to a point where basically the Frankenstein monster is too big to destroy for them right now, because over time they kind of they were so corrupt, and it was so they had so much self-interest, they let it go out of control. So now it's a big monster. They need help with fighting, and they really do need help. They can't really handle it right now. So as far as Burkina Faso is concerned, I'll say this. Traore is basically just implementing what all African leaders should have implemented from the get-go, putting his country,
exactly,
trying to make investments, make sure his people are competent, have the skills to do the job instead of depending on Western people to do stuff, and so on and so forth. And
deal with the Fulanis.
You said what? And deal with the Fulani Tuaregs? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, and deal with the Fulanis. He's dealing with the Fulanis. That's why you see them protesting right now, because they feel like in their communities they can hide. They can hide in Fulani community. That's why Fulanis are coming. Listen. Hold on.
You lying?
Hold. Kitty, hold on.
You're not here. Right? I'm here. Stop lying.
Yeah.
Well, let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, Darth.
Hold on. Here's what's happening right there, right? First, because Fulanis are most of in West Africa, Fulanis are majority Muslim. And because of that, they actually have engaged in a campaign of spreading Islam across the region. And they have actually been the most active ones in spreading Islam across the region, sometimes through jihadist means. So some of them, not all of them, some of them are sedentary, some of them still live in that medieval era. They live in that medieval mind state and all that kind of stuff. So they still think, yes, you can say, I just think the West are using them to their own advantage. But Fulanis themselves, most Fulanis, not all of them, live in that medieval era where they feel they can spread jihadism. And the reality, if I was a general, I will do like Ibrahim Traore. I will neutralize that community and all that stuff. That's where the terrorists feel like they can hide. So that's why their citizens, their communities are coming as casualties, because the terrorists are hiding there. This is Wagner Group. This is Russia. They don't fuck around. They don't fuck around. They know exactly where it is, and they don't listen to any Western nonsense. They deal with where the threat is, where it is at, and all that stuff. Fulanis can complain. That's why you see only the Fulanis are protesting against the Malian leader, the Burkina Faso leader, against the Niger leader. It's only the Fulanis protesting when you look at
just
it,
so I can keep
because
up.
they are harboring the extremists.
So just so I
100%.
can keep up, you guys all kind of agree that the Fulani are problematic in the region?
They've been
I don't.
problematic. They've been
I don't agree
problematic.
to
Let me
that. I
tell
think
you
that's a
something.
very simple. That's a very simplistic
Hold
view,
on,
brother.
hold
I mean,
on.
you can't
Okay,
just zoom
okay,
down and talk about Fulani.
Take this for instance. Take this for instance. You understand what I mean? I said the commercialization and trade and selling of black people as slaves across the world began with the Islamic Advent, and the people that took part in it majorly were the Fulanis. Even today, the Somalis, the Fulanis, these people traded black people. They made black people a commodity fit to be slaves because of
But I do
Islam.
want to hear where bro would give pushback on that.
They made black people a commercial product to be sold as slaves across the globe. These people that took upon jihadism.
But to the other brother that was saying it's not that simple.
You heard of the
All right,
story
I
of
got
Ayuba?
Darv, I got to pass it to Cuddy. Go ahead, Cuddy.
I'm just fucking that out.
See, let me tell everybody a secret, right? Ibrahim is Muslim. Goita is Muslim. Gichiani is Muslim. These are Muslim countries. So how can there be extremists? I bet you didn't know that, did you? See, it's not about religion. It's about the devil versus the righteous. See, when you're dealing with people that want money, you could pay anybody. Let me tell you what's going on with the Fulanis. When the French commandos and American commandos used to come here and kill villages that you heard about, those are the terrorists. But they blame the tribe that they killed, which were Fulanis. The Fulanis in Burkina Faso speak Morde. The people you see JT feed and me on our channels, those are Fulanis. So get that religion. Stop eating the white man dinner because it got your brain messed up. You believe in everything the white man tell you. It has nothing to do with religion, and it has nothing to do with tribes. They demonize the tribes, turning brother against brother. So when one brother gets weak, they can go take the resources of that land. So tribe has nothing to do with what's going on. All these terrorist groups that you speak on, they were created by America, France, and Europe. So
but
which religion out your mind. Get all that out your mind. That holds no weight. Those are lies that the Western media feeds you, and you believe.
Well, which community was easier
You're
to
not
use?
here. I'm here. I'm seeing it.
Why do you think the Chinese are curbing the Uyghurs in China? Why do you think the Chinese are curbing the Uyghurs? Why do you think the Chinese are curbing the Uyghurs in China? Why do you think the Chinese? This guy, I cannot even talk to this guy.
Those are the rejects.
My God, you're an idiot.
Like in America, you got good Americans and you got dope fiends, right? You got good Chinese and you got dope fiend Chinese too. You got good Muslims.
What I'm trying to tell you is the ideology itself.
Trying to say because it holds no weight.
I don't think this guy is bright entirely. You're not, my guy. With all due respect, you're not too bright. So I'm sorry, you're not too bright.
You hold no weight. Your words hold no weight, bro. I'm here. I'm not gonna let you come and lie to these people because you're not even here.
Anyways, I just want to say the advent of Islam kind of made black people to be a commodity, commercialized black people as people to be sold as slaves. It started with them.
To a white god, or what you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying black people started to be sold as black people. Hold on, black people started to be sold as commercial slaves as a race when Islam came into
white man
Africa.
Is Jesus, right?
When Islam came into Africa, black people started to be sold as slaves.
Islam comes from Africa.
That's not true. That's not.
That
true.
is true. I'm here. I'm in the home of Islam.
Islam does not come from Africa.
You want me to prove it to you? You know the story of Abraham from your Bible, right?
Abraham never existed.
Oh man. Oh,
So,
we gonna that's gonna be another debate for another live.
Another live.
Oh, man.
But in any case, Kidola, where's Kidola? Kidola, I don't see you complaining when Ibrahim Traore is dealing with the Fulanis you've been complaining about as well. He's dealing with the Muslims over there. So I find a lot of people just like to be contrarians, even though the trends are ahead of them. The trends is ahead of you, but they love to be contrarians and all that. Fine. But if you're going to criticize the guy, criticize him on what he's achieving in terms of his particular problem, which is insecurity. He's dealing with insecurity, and he has allies from all over the place to deal with it. Criticize him on that.
More people have died under President Traore than under the former president. Are you aware of that? More people have died in Burkina Faso.
You prefer the former president then? You prefer the former president?
No, I am fact checking you. I'm fact checking you about the security situation.
Shut the fuck up if you don't.
I am
shut the fuck up if you
listen,
don't.
Listen. Can you grow up? Who's this kid?
Let's have some decorum. Let's not.
Who's this? Yeah, I mean, this guy is a child. I don't know whether he just started watching BET or what. I don't know. Are you an African or you? I don't know.
Do you prefer the former president of Niger? Do you prefer him?
Listen to what I'm saying. I am fact checking you. I don't care about the former president.
Let's stop with
sorry, I'm trolling today. I'm trolling. I mean,
it's a fact. I'm fact checking you. Okay, according to several sources, more people have died under President Traore in this jihadist war than under the former president, and even before that. That's a fact. You can check it up on Google.
Okay, if more people look at this fucking idiot. Look at it. So more people have died. More people have died. If more people have died, sacrificing their lives to kind of secure their nation state, is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing? If more people have died trying to secure their nation state, is that a bad thing? If more people have died, but they've died for a good cause, they've died for a cause to kind of liberate their nation state. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I cannot even argue, which people died most? Did the terrorists died most, or did most people who are ready to sacrifice, who died most? So that's a stupid argument right then and there. That's a stupid argument. You see what I'm saying? You see? So what I'm saying at the end of the day is, yes, Hillary, with all due respect, Hillary, even Senegal, as stable as it can be, if Senegal realizes that it cannot right away immediately remove itself from the international financial structure of the world. So it has to surgically do these things. That's why you don't see these people are intelligent. If they were too stupid, then they will just rush and say, let's detangle from France. And then you will see exactly what happens. They are taking it surgically, but they're doing what they need to do in terms of physical input. Military boots on the ground to deal with the security issue, and then they're having to deal with the.
Are you aware I
cannot understand Africans when they think that everything is just that a hammer is required for every situation. If that's the case, then we are all thinking these people are stupid.
So I'm glad I brought up the currency part, because the point is, I think Burkina Faso owes roughly about $10 billion. Kati is hoping that the dollar will go down. This will help them pay off their debt. They're not debt free. They're not debt free. They haven't paid off their debts to China, to the IMF. They haven't paid their debts off to the IMF. The only reason I mention it is if you're still using French currency, pardon my French, but they got you by the balls. You can be as passionate as you want, but if you ain't paying that debt back, and if your currency is still being controlled by a Western nation, it's going to be very difficult. I hope they change their currency, and I want to see if they can make their new currency strong, because that's the key to having a powerful military. You need money. You need to buy that, build that army up. And that's not even my opinion. They're still using the currency of a Western nation. That still has control over.
Hillary, what method would you like to approach? A hammer, or a slow detanglement, or a surgical detanglement? What would you rather prefer, Hillary? A hammer or a surgical detanglement?
Are any of those actually part of Ibrahim's plan, though? The hammer or the surgical?
You're criticizing the guy and you don't even know his plan.
No, he hasn't made any. There hasn't been any any straightforward plan to get rid of the currency. So when you start talking about a hammer or a surgical
I
thing,
understand. I understand
provided with information on that. You're just making guesses. I'm talking about facts. The currency is still used by them. They're still using their currency controlled by France. You're talking about
Hillary, you're being disingenuous. With all due respect,
Burkina Faso owes $5.6 billion. Burkina Faso owes $5.6 billion. So how are they going to switch currency? They still have a debt. No, that's a lie. They have not paid anything. I have gone through the IMF World Bank documents. That is completely false. They haven't paid anything. They owe.
The IMF want to give them money, and they rejected it.
Kati, I have seen the documents. They owe. Okay. I'm going to put something up. I hope Diners can show this. I have done my homework. You haven't.
Why you all fighting against Why you fighting against Burkina Faso though?
You said?
Why are you fighting against Burkina Faso?
No, I'm not fighting against Burkina Faso. I'm giving you the facts. They owe the IMF and the World Bank. It is false information that they have paid off their debt. That is fake news.
They owe them what?
They have not.
Rejecting their money. They trying to give them like 10 billion. What you mean? You talking about 5.6?
Is operating on fake news.
I want to address credit though.
If you go right now onto the Ministry of Finance website, all the information is there. Stop the fake news.
I got time, bro. Get this fucking idiot.
Give me a second. Let me address credit for a minute. Credit.
Yeah.
The dude you're talking to was born in Africa.
So
you feel me? So what I'm trying to say to you is he lives around the same people that he's talking about. Now they might be more peaceful. Hold on, man. They might be more peaceful where he's at. You feel me? I suggest you go listen a lot of Nigerian channels.
Why?
And you will hear the focus of the Fulani. You feel me? Those people have been given problems since Usman Dan Fodio. You feel me? Let me tell you something. They are hypocrites. They say they don't like Christians and they're fighting against black Nigerian Christians, but they are willing to team up with white Christian, French and Americans to fight against you. And they've always been doing that. They're not real. I can't. Islam to me is not real. It's a Arab worshipping religion.
Only stupid people follow it. I can fire. Only stupid people follow it.
It turns black people. Yeah, and it's a Ponzi scheme because 1 billion Muslims and every man supposed to make a journey to Mecca in his lifetime. But that's not the only thing. It's supposed to bring
any kind of I can interject, and they could be denied a visa to make that journey to Mecca by an Arab.
Yep.
Yeah. And also you're supposed to bring gifts. You're supposed to bring payments. So that is a feeding up apparatus. That is an apparatus to keep Arab having bitches. You feel me? That's what it is. And we falling for it. It's same thing with Christianity. A lot of people want to go to the Vatican. You see how the faggot died and how much hundreds of thousands of people went to the Vatican. It's a strategy to keep white people fed. You feel me? The religion, the Christianity, is to keep them fed. It's to make us as idiots. Listen, it don't connect the same way. Being a black Muslim don't connect the same way as being a Arab or a white Muslim. It don't connect the same way.
I can find when did black people began to be sold as slaves internationally as commercial products? When?
It's stinking Arabs. It's stinking Arabs. And the, hold on, let me talk. And the dirty Fulanis. And some other ones, some other Bedouin ones. You feel me?
Worshippers.
Listen, man. Listen, man.
The Arabs got
Listen, man.
Islam.
Let me tell you something.
It's in your scriptures.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. We as black people need to go in on that special tribe. That special tribe is a fucking is a thorn in Africa since Islam came to them. Since Islam came to them, they've all became raging idiots, fundamentalist, freaks. You feel me? Do you know that they are when we as black people in the continent didn't even study what colorism is? Do you know that the Fulanis was always colorist because of Islam? They think you can hear them say they are the most beautiful people. They'll tell you that.
Hair and shit.
I can tell you. Do you know Islam associates black with the color black or black people being
Islam
born
don't
of the
associate
devil.
no color, really.
Born of the devil and devil born.
Can we stick to topic or are we shifting from the topic?
Okay, let's not shift
Yeah,
from
but
the
what has this got to do with Burkina Faso?
Yeah, let's get back to the topic. Guys, if you're in the chat, if you have not hit the like button, please hit that like button. Hold on, Econ. Guys, hit the like button again. If you have not hit that like button, please hit that like button. All right, go ahead.
Can I read from the Ministry of Economy, Finance, and Planning about the debt? It says right here.
Hold on, Afro Man. Hold on. Read from the ministry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says here from the Ministry of Economy, Finance, and Planning. This is the ministry in charge of finance in Burkina Faso.
What year?
In their quarterly.
What date?
What date? 2024. 2024. This is their quarterly report, page 35. Okay, the external debt of Burkina Faso.
Can we do something up to
2020?
That was last year.
How do you do 2025 when you're not done with the year?
And there are three quarters. I think there are about 4 quarters in a year. Which quarter is it? You talking
about? Man, let them finish. Go ahead, Afro Man.
Let me read. Okay, so for the quarterly report 2024, okay, ending 2024, the debt, external debt of Burkina Faso stands at $5.6 billion US. End of discussion.
He paid it off. He paid it off. It was announced.
They have not paid it off. They have not paid it off.
You fucking idiot. Most countries own more debt than that. That doesn't mean it's necessarily bad if you're doing things necessary to secure your nation. You're building infrastructure.
I am not talking about whether the debt is good or bad. I'm telling you that they owe. So get your facts right.
There are more nations that billion. There are nations that are stable that owe more debt. That owe more debt than Burkina Faso in the sense of Ghana, Nigeria, and other parts of even Senegal owes more debt than Burkina Faso. But the owing of debt doesn't mean it's a bad thing if you're actually doing the right things in the country. You're doing things that keep the economy going. You understand what I'm saying? So hold on a second. Number 2, the Burkina Faso president is actually wrestling to get his stuff back. I am not talking about the debt issue. I'm talking about the security issue. 70% of the land has been recovered, which was 30% of the land was occupied by the terrorists before he came in.
60%.
I can fire. Don't worry. 70% has been recovered. Don't worry about this guy.
No, I'm saying they occupied 60% in the beginning.
70% has been recovered since the Traore came into power and all that kind of stuff. So they own a lot of debt. But they're using that debt to fund their own security. What the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, you're shifting the goalpost. The argument was made that they have paid it off, that they have zero debt. That is false. They don't have zero debt. They have $5.6 billion at the end of 2024.
Because we had
you win. They didn't pay it off. You win.
a bunch of Africans or Caribbeans talking bad about my people. They don't know the Fulanese or the Fula people. You getting all your news from a Nigerian on social media.
Ajarama Jamtom. I can speak Fulani. Ajarama, I know your people. I fucking know your people.
Hold on.
Yeah, they are wicked. You have wicked.
Jamaican men.
Hold on. You know what I suggest to you know what I suggest to the good Fulanis? You know what I suggest to the good Fulanis? You go after the bad ones and set an example, bitch.
You spoke for about 10 minutes.
I can fire. The saying in the region is if you see one Fulani, expect to see two. If you see two Fulani, expect to see four.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is all I'm saying to this dude, since he come in here, come defending his wicked tribe. Go do something about your wicked people in your tribe. That's giving you, the good guy, a bad name. How about that? You all have wicked people in your tribe, and none of you discipline the vagabonds in your tribe.
Exactly.
So that means you are with it. You want to take over Nigeria. You want to enslave the Yoruba and the Igbo. That's what you want to do.
You see, you don't know about Nigeria, my friend. You don't know about Nigeria. You don't meet Fulanese in America. All the Nigerians you meet up are from the South.
You don't want to meet us.
Oh, you okay?
You don't want us to meet you there.
Oh my God!
I can fire. Let him speak.
Can I say something, my friend?
Let him speak.
In Nigeria, right? It's all about tribalism. You understand? It's all about tribalism, and then what comes next after that? I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, right? Okay. So if the Fulanese control Nigeria, right? Whatever you want to say, I said it before. That means the Fulanese, right? In Nigeria, it's a corrupt versus corrupt. That's what you have in Nigeria. Corrupt versus corrupt. You go to the south, you go to the north, you go to the southeast, whatever, right? Or whatever. It's corrupt versus corrupt. The Fulanese corruptions is more effective than the people from the south, from the southeast, nor from the southwest. You understand that? If the Fulanese are so bad, right? I come all over West Africa, from Sierra Leone to Guinea to Burkina Faso, down in Mali, down in Senegal, down in all these countries. How come only Nigeria? When you started talking, right? You said in social media. Where you get those news from? From a southeast Nigerian.
Okay, let me respond to that.
Every video from a southeast Nigerian.
I get my news. I get my news from.
Why?
BBC. I get my news from BBC.
It's all about dominating other tribes.
Let me respond to that. Okay, you say okay, why?
Other tribes.
Let me respond to that.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Let me respond to that factually. Okay. In Senegal,
island, my friend. Jamaican hate another Jamaican.
Hold on, man.
Yeah, but Yoruba is not trying to. Yoruba was never trying to invade.
Class stuff, man. Jamaican don't really give a fuck about another Jamaican. There's thousands of churches in Jamaica. Every block
the thing is, if many people are complaining about you,
understand.
Hold on. If many people are complaining about you,
Igbo man news giving you
one at a time. One at a time.
Because Igbo man cannot defeat the Fulanese. That's why.
Hold on, Mr. Fulani. If many people are complaining about you, then you are definitely a problem. You all
are the ones that's fighting. You're fighting unarmed people, and you're fighting people who don't want to fight. That's what you all doing.
Hold on, I can fire.
You missing
the
point.
Y'all wicked, evil little people.
No, they're humans. I can fire. They're humans. They just don't belong.
I
can fire. Yeah, but they are evil. They are evil. Islam has corrupted them and turned them into black haters.
I can fire. I have so much
in Jamaica.
I have so much.
Goff, just be quiet. Let me talk, Goff. Just come on, man.
Get out of here.
You feel me?
You came to Jamaica and started owning everything.
Stop.
There's churches.
Okay, so you don't have evil, nasty people in your tribe. So you're saying that your tribe is a good tribe. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely, my people are good. What the hell wrong with you?
No, that's a lie. How come
you don't get the
so
point.
How come
it's
you
Nigerian versus Nigerian? That's what you don't understand.
Why have you
It's a
guys
Nigerian
devolved
thing.
this discussion to
You don't
cheap
understand that.
tribalism? I don't understand it.
Hold on, I can fire.
Dude,
Hold on, I can fire. Let me get in
nobody
here.
making up nobody making up nothing on
I can
you.
fire. Let me
Nobody
respond to that
making
guy.
up nothing on you.
I can fire. Let me respond to the guy with
A
historical
Jamaican wants to
context.
cook, right? He
Let me
washes chicken with lemon
bang,
and
bang,
vinegar,
bang, bang,
right?
bang.
He
Hold on,
plays.
hold on. Right. Like I
You
have
think I
observed
care
this.
about you calling Jamaican? You think I give a shit?
Hold on, I've observed this situation enough, and I've given enough benefit of the doubt.
You're missing the point.
Even when
I was saying,
even when
hold on,
even when the
Let the man talk, man. Shut up.
Even when the Igbos were crying about Fulanis and this and that, I said, maybe Igbos have been tribalistic or something. And then I started to watch, and I just watched the situation. I speak to even my Nigerian colleagues, and I say, what's going on here? And some of them are Muslim, But anyways, in Senegambia region, Fulanis had been a problem, especially during colonial times and all that stuff. They have been instrumentally used by the French to kind of pacify the region and all that stuff. No problem. That's ancient history. But in modern day history, in the terrorism situation, the Dogon people were complaining about Fulani.
Yeah, hey, Dar. Hold on, Dar. Let me interject. See, man, I don't want to be tribal. I don't want to get involved with this. But part of the reason why I can't go to Dogon country is because of what you just said. I can't go to Dogon.
Exactly. The Dogon are complaining Fulanis. The Burkina Faso are complaining Fulanis. The Igbos, the Yorubas now, even some Yorubas will say, the Yorubas now are complaining about Fulanis.
I'm trying.
Well, go ahead with Dar.
That means that if enough people are complaining, that means the Fulanis, not because they are Fulani, but because they are Muslim, they are easily able to be used by the United States for terrorism purposes.
Oh my God!
That's why.
Let me ask.
Let me interject real quick. I disagree when you say the Fulani and the Senegabian region. They're cool, but like I said, chill out. But in northern Nigeria and in northern Mali, and again, I don't want to be tribal, but when I call out Black America, I'll call out Black America. Now, I want to go back to Dogon country so bad, but I can't because of the Fulani situation. That's what everybody keeps saying. So, I don't know.
They were not always cool in Senegambia region. They were not always cool, Diners. It's just now that they have calmed down. Hold on, they've calmed down now. But the fact is, the simple fact is, about
Africans, right?
Hold on, Bang. The simple fact is, whenever every leader, a pragmatic leader, wants to investigate terrorism, they go to the Fulani community. Unfortunately, they come out as casualties. They come out as casualties because they're harboring the fucking extremists. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Are there any alliances?
Well, hold on.
They are the extremists.
Go ahead, Willie.
So I kind of just had two questions. One, I'm wondering, so is it the Fulani people that are on the other side of this conflict in Burkina Faso? And then I want to know more about any alliances they are. I hear a lot of these terms, but I haven't heard them connected to the different people involved, which will kind of help me drill down. Because
check this out, right?
As a Black American.
Okay. As a Black American, right? Check this out, right? When you have any problem with Nigerians, right? I have dealt with Nigerians heavily. I have dealt with Yorubas. I have dealt with Igbos heavily, right? I've had friends with them. I prefer Yorubas. You know what I'm trying to say? Whenever a Nigerian talk bad about other Africans, right? Try to belittle them as much as possible. 95% of the time, it comes from an Igbo man. I've never met a Fulani from a Nigerian. I've never met a Hausa man from a Nigerian. In America, whenever I have issues with any Africans talking about other Africans, what country you from, this and that, right? It always comes from a Nigerian. When I check their lineage, right, it's an Igbo. An Igbo has a big mouth thinking they are so superior than other Africans, right? And then once they get to Nigeria, right, they realize, oh, our leaders are being conquered by the Fulanese. In Nigeria, it's a corrupt versus corrupt. Think about that. It's not about who's better for the country. No. My government, my leadership from my side are corrupt. Their leadership from their side is corrupt. The Fulanese are just better at controlling Nigeria.
What was that Fulani slave trade?
That's what it is.
What was the name of that Fulani slave trader or something like that? Abdullahi or Ismail something. There was a Fulani slave trader that was trying to sell Black people to America. And he
Okay,
got
so now,
and he
every
still
tribe,
continued selling slaves.
every people that was sold doing a slave trade, it was caused by the Fulanis. Every issue in Africa, especially in West Africa, it's caused by the Fulanis.
It's not all
Make that
caused
make
by the
sense.
Fulani, but it was
Make that
started by
make
the
sense.
Fulani. It was propagated
Make
by
that
the
make sense,
Fulani.
my friend.
It was exacerbated by the Fulani.
You cannot. You see the problem is the Fulanis have too much money. Other Africans hate off of that.
It's similar to how the Somalis. It's similar to how the Somalis.
You don't get it.
It's similar to how the Somalis.
If you want to
It's similar to
understand
how
the
the
Fulanis,
Somalis
right,
and
or the Fula
Ethiopians.
people, right,
It's similar to how the Somalis and Ethiopians exacerbated.
Okay, I don't like them. It's because of their money.
Jamaican man, you an island boy. You don't know nothing about the Fulanis. Nothing.
As I say,
So that's why I say Batty boy. That's why I say Fulani Batty boy. Nobody cares about you and your people.
I can fire no hate on the Fulani.
You don't like no. Listen, they don't like nothing black. You see them Fulani people? They only like Arabs. You see me? Some people don't want to talk, but they only like straight hair people, and they want to have straight hair. That's how they live their life.
Somebody's echoing. One mic, but I would say this: let's not stereotype all Fulani. Because my best friend in Africa, my very first friend in Africa is a Fula man. Don't interrupt me. And he's from Senegal. That's what I'm saying. Can I finish? Don't say my name. So the Senegambian Fulanis are cool, real cool.
Not always. They have not always been cool.
Again, once and I just kind of take it personal because I've been trying to go back to Dogon country for years now. And I can't, and it's always, the Fulanis up here causing problems, so I can't go to Dogon country. And then of course we got the situation in northern Nigeria, which is just obvious what's going on there with the Hassa Fulani. So yeah, but let me pass to Africa Wahala. He's Nigerian. Go ahead, Africa Wahala.
Yeah, man, thanks. I wanted to give my perspective on the Fulani situation. Me, I'm a Yoruba, and I'll tell you what. Of course, like every other group, some people are good and some people are bad. It's the same in every other group, in every single group of the world. So it doesn't really make sense to, paint an entire group with a brush. But that being said, like I said, I'm Yoruba, and I'm not going to pretend like I haven't been observing what has been going on in the last almost 40 years, as far as the Fulanis decimating the Benue Plateau. I'm talking about the central part of Nigeria, part of Kogi, these days, all the way to Ondo, Ogun, to the coast, all the way in Edo State, Delta, Rivers. So these guys are literally going into communities in the middle of the night, setting people's houses on fire. When the people are running out, they cut them up into pieces, shoot them, innocent women and children, and then those communities are deserted. In many cases, these guys come back to those communities, take over the communities, and you'll be wondering, why can't the military or the security forces do something about it? They will do nothing about it. It's just that way. And it has become so bad in the last 12 years, 10 years, that you can't pretend like we don't see what is happening. So yes, the Fulanis, many of them are good people, but they are causing a major chaos.
But I'm saying
you gotta
the good
understand
ones. But I'm saying the good ones.
You got to understand the nature
Let
of
him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, Africa Wahala. Go ahead.
So yeah, like I said, I grew up in Abuja, and I grew up with some Fulanis. So I know Fulanis can be good people. I know the educated ones can be good. But what we had since 2015, once Buhari got in there and destroyed the cohesion, there was a guy earlier that was saying something about the cohesion between the tribes of Nigeria. It has been destroyed. it's been completely destroyed. If you ever find yourself in a social media space on Twitter or anywhere else where Nigerians are talking, it's mostly tribalism these days, like the Yorubas versus the Igbos. And it all started, I'll tell you what, it started from 2015, once Buhari got in with the highest level of impunity we had ever witnessed, completely destroyed the fabrics, the cohesion of the country. So right now, it's unfortunate, and I have to agree with those that put a lot of the blame on the Fulanis. Not saying all Fulanis are bad, and that Fulani guy that came in earlier that was trying to be defensive, in my opinion, the way you should have come in should have been, yes, I'm a Fulani, and it's sad this is happening, that we have a bad name.
Listen, my friend.
But the truth is, not all of us are bad. You should have come in that way.
My friend.
Because if you come in defensive, then
Y'all
don't.
missing the point. See, you got to understand you got to understand how Nigeria works. That's what I keep telling you guys.
That's a lie, man.
Not your fucking mouth. If I was a leader, I'll deal with them like Xi Jinping is dealing. I'll deal with them like Xi Jinping.
It's just a
hey, hold on. You know what he's saying? You know what he's saying? Oh, if Nigeria is corrupt, then his people decide that they're gonna be more corrupt. That's what this guy is promoting.
That's what they don't understand.
But that's wickedness. That's wickedness.
What the Igbos, they don't want to come out and say,
so you gonna go around killing everybody? You're gonna go around killing everybody? That's hate. You already hate. You already hated Nigerian. Hold on. A lot of these people already hate since Usman Danfodio. These people have been going after real Nigerians.
I can fire.
You feel me?
Get your news.
I can fire. Hold on.
Let me say something about Usman Danfodio. Usman's father, Musa Danfodio, was the official guy, the first Fulani. So that was the first Fulani that came into the Sokoto Caliphate and created the Sokoto Caliphate, pretty much. The forefather of the Sardana of Sokoto. So if you know how important that position is,
we don't want no history lessons. We know about it.
1804.
I can fire.
If as recent as 1804, we started having havoc, in my opinion, the first terrorist in Nigerian history, even though there was no Nigeria at that time, it's a problem. We can't pretend like the Fulanis, although some are good, but they are causing a major havoc in Nigeria.
Nigeria call himself. When you deal with another Nigerian, automatically, he or she thinks she's automatically better than you because she's a Nigerian. They have this belief that in West Africa, they are the superior. So when you have a system like that, right? And then when that system is being implemented in Nigeria itself, right? With different ethnic groups, right? Or 200 ethnic groups, right? You have the Hausa, which is the most, I think you have the Yorubas, then you have the Igbos. They have the, probably like, the Fulanis are probably like 15 million, right? So when you have a system like that, you got to defeat the other people. So at the end of the day, if the other people defeat y'all cannot get mad at those people because it's a system in Nigeria. It's a system in Nigeria.
Man, I got to interject, man. This is getting to the level when I get on, when I get on Black Americans and our issues and we start yelling a white man and they drop guns in the community and all that. I don't know, Bang. I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know about this one, man. you just explain it as a lack of accountability. Again, the majority of Fula people are great people. My best friend in Africa is a Fula. But I mean, just some of them, you just like in the Black community, you got Black folks. And Icon, don't interrupt me. Just like in the Black community, you got Black folks and you got the N-word, like Chris Rock said. With the Fulas, you got Fulas and you got the N-word Fulas, and they just be going like when they go there, they go there, and it's just it's making it hard to really and again I take it kind of personal because I want to go back to Northern Mali and go back to Mopti and.
I remember you used to go there, Dinus. I remember Dinus, you used to go there.
Segu and Traore, I'm sorry, in Dogon country.
Dinus. But I remember you used to go to Mali.
Don't interrupt me. Quit saying my name. And I can't because it's the Fula situation. That's what I'm always told. you know, and I'm just like, goodness. So, but go ahead, Darth. I'm gonna pass it back to Will. Pass it to Willie. Go ahead, Darth.
When you started moving around in Africa, because I've been watching you for time, when you started moving around, you were always in Mali and all those regions.
I can't go. They said it's not. They said I can't go because of and again, but at the same time, I get on Black American folks all the time, and I'm Black American, and I'm just saying that Fulani situation is just making it hard to move around.
Any person that's pragmatic and realistic will deal with the situation accordingly, just like the Chinese are dealing. Hold on, my guy. What I can find, you know, that there's a saying like this. There's a saying, chaos is a ladder, and all that. Chaos is a ladder. So what it is any person that doesn't have a place of belonging, they wait for chaos to try and find a place of belonging for themselves. They create chaos or wait for chaos to kind of find themselves a place to be. That's what the Fulanis are, and also they wait for chaos.
Listen, man. As long as Igbo and the smaller tribes and Yoruba and these people exist, these people will remain savages. They've always been. The men have always promoted savagery. You see me?
Island man.
They're not going to change.
Do you know what they do?
They're not going to change.
They cut people's heads off.
Don't ask me.
Bad man cut people's heads off in Jamaica.
You see?
Heads off in Jamaica.
You see the savagery that he promoting?
Island man.
See savagery that he promoting?
Get out of here, Island man.
You see me? Your people invented.
I mean, he's not lying. That is facts.
Your people and the Arabs.
A Jamaican don't love another Jamaican.
You're talking about a colonized people. Who colonized you?
You don't understand.
You're just on. Hold on. Nobody colonized you. You've always been a savage. See that?
You don't understand Africa, my friend. You go to social media, you watching all these southeastern Nigerians.
You come here talking about. You're talking about.
A friend of mine.
You're talking about learn savagery. You're talking about.
Hey guys, what Mike? I want to give a shout out to Ronique. Thank you for the $50 cash app. I appreciate you. Appreciate Ronique. And let me pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Diners, and shout out to the panel and the audience. Look, man, Ahmed, you know, we've conversated a few times, and I won't say I don't like you, but I think let's be fair to the Fulanis. In Sierra Leone, for example, they're not the quote-unquote same people. The Nigerians Fulans are a little different than the Fulans from Sierra Leone, and maybe even the Fulans from Senegal, and other places in Mali and whatever. But they've had a long-standing plan to dominate Nigeria. And the most disappointing part about it is that they're using the Hausa as a buffer and as reinforcement for this plan. And that's the main reason they're successful in Nigeria, because the Hausa are so numerous and they seem so controlled by the Fulanis that the other two groups, especially the Yorubas and the Igbos, always pisses me off because they should be uniting against these people. You know, the reality. One second, please.
Hey, let him finish. Go
The
ahead.
reality is that since the days of Usman Dan Fodio, who came into the Kenan Borno Empire and pretty much conquered it using a religious jihad, and then dominated the Hausa, you know, converted a lot more of them into Islam, and has been controlling them, especially the Hausa and his descendants have been controlling them.
Arab voodoo. Guys, don't let Elvis talk. Go, Elvis.
Has been controlling them with that religion. And then you had a president like Buhari who blatantly told the entire country that these guys should be allowed to come and grace on their land because Nigeria is a land for everybody. And they were coming from the northern part of the country into, like what somebody was saying, to Kogi State, Ikiti, Ondo, you know, coming down the Plateau State, and just decimating the people's farmland. And the government was doing nothing to protect them, man. And that's why this stupid shit about the Yorubas and the Igbos not coming together, thinking that, especially the Yorubas, thinking that the house, the Fulanis are their friends because they want political power, and that's how they get it, by getting the approval from the Fulanis in the north. It's stupid, man. Together, both of these groups are almost like 80 million people. Then if you come together, you can match their numbers really in the north, but they're not doing it. A lot of Yorubas are sitting underneath the house of Fulanis because of quote unquote religious reasons.
Exactly.
And I mean, no offense to you, brother, but I'm telling you, we know the history of Nigeria. We know what happened in that country, and we know the damage and the carnage that the Fulanis has meted out against the Nigerian people. So your people in Sierra Leone may be the more level-headed Fula, but what's going on in Nigeria, we have to talk
But
about.
hold
We are
on.
not
The
level-headed.
wickedness is the
Well,
wickedness. Guess
quickly.
what the wickedness is? See, the wickedness is
Let me just
none of
end
them
my thought.
talking
Let
to
me just
your.
end my
Let him finish
let
his
me just
shit.
end my train of thought here, man. But in all honesty, I'll never advocate for violence against any other African people.
Of course.
But the reality is, we have to call out the Fulanis because Nigeria is a great country, or should be even a bigger and a greater country on the continent. But the instability caused mostly by Fulas in the north because of religious domination, and they want to Islamicize the whole republic. That's an issue.
You
And
know,
for all
Africa,
well-meaning African, you
Africa
have to
cannot have
unite
a
and
peaceful
fight
name.
against it.
Island man,
Africa
If
cannot have a
Nigeria
island man,
peaceful
succeeds,
name
brother,
island
just
you
man.
gotta
because of
let
these
me finish
people.
quickly, man. You can't be always jumping in. If Nigeria is if West Africa as a whole is to succeed,
Damn,
Nigeria has
you
to be
like how you
stable,
sound.
and Nigeria has to succeed. And we think one of the biggest impediment is the Fulanese in the north. Not the only impediment, but one of the biggest are the Fulanese in the Hausa correlation and decimating the northern part of Nigeria. But I'll pass the mic.
I think Islam was a fucking degeneracy and a fucking curse on black people. 100%. It was one of the worst curse that
Listen,
ever happened to us because it kind of.
Be
Anyways,
quiet.
God,
Be quiet.
I'm
Who
saying
controls
this.
the
I'm
world right
saying
now?
this,
Who
God.
controls the world?
None of them
Who
is
been controlling the world for
countering
the
each
past
other.
500?
They're not
Who
telling
been
each
controlling
other
the
that
world for the past
you're
500
wicked.
years?
Wait. They're not telling each other to stop the wickedness. All of
Who's
them.
been
All of
controlling
them in
the world for
Guinea.
the last
All
500
of the
years?
peaceful. All of the peaceful ones, they're not telling the wicked ones to stop doing that, doing wickedness. So all of them is in all of them. It's just that. Listen, I don't trust these people. These people are crazy. You feel me?
Econ is
And
because the righteous ones are scared of the wicked ones. That's all. It's just they're scared.
well, go to war with them, but you have to fix your reputation.
Reputation
Nobody
of what?
likes you.
Reputation
But
of
think
what?
about this, right?
I would never take.
The previous
I would
president
never
of
take the
Nigeria was
average
a Fula
Nigerian
Hold
man.
on, wait. Let me
system.
The
tell you.
current vice
Wait. I
president is a
thought you.
Fula man. They've always been at
Hold
the
on.
helm of power and protecting their people. That's the problem, bro.
Yeah, but we made you talk. Hold on. I'm just saying this, man. You feel me? Your reputation needs to be protected because you're seen as the scumbags of Africa, the wicked heathen, the
You don't
heathens.
understand Africa, my friend. In West Africa,
Your name is the heathens.
the
Your
Fulas
name
or
is
the
the
Fulanese
heathens of.
dominate West
Your
Africa.
name is the
In
heathens of
West Africa, the
sub-Saharan
Fulas
Africa.
or Fulanese dominate West Africa. You know
And
why?
then
Yeah,
don't
And
forget,
you
they
don't
had a
understand
large
that.
part to play in the slave trade too. They
You don't
sold
understand.
slaves
yeah,
You
just
don't
that's
like
what.
understand the
along with the
system in West
Mandingos. They
Africa.
saw a lot of slaves in West Africa.
You
Yeah,
gotta understand the
they
system
are
in
the
West
ones
Africa. This
who
man,
stop the continent from being in peace. These
this other
people
man
have
comes here and
always
talk
had the
about
continent on
wickedness and stuff
fire.
like that, right?
You
Who
feel me?
controls the world for the past 500 years? It's white people.
You all need to
Most white people are
be
Christians or
focused on.
Catholics.
I can fire. I can
Y'all
fire.
need to be
I can fire. I can
y'all
fire.
need to be
This
focused
man come
on.
over here and try
I
to
can
talk
fire.
about this and that, right? About Islamic.
Somebody
How
need
in
to
West
focus
Africa,
on
right?
you.
Hold on. No, this is not
Y'all want to
Islamic.
bring Islamic war
Hold
to
on.
West Africa. Does that
Bang,
make
bang.
sense?
This is not anti-Islamic.
We are so backward
Hold
in everything.
on, Bang. Hold
And
on.
then you
If
guys
the
focus on
Somebody
religion.
need to
hold
focus
on,
on
Bang.
you, set of
Hold on, Bang.
people.
Hold on,
Make
Bang. Hold
that
on,
make
Bang.
West Africa. West Africa is about 70% Muslim. Think about that
Yeah.
now.
Hold on, Bang.
Think about that now.
If the
West Africa is
United
about
States
70% Muslim.
hold on, if the
Yeah,
United
because of
States
because of
Man,
force.
Island man. A Jamaican man does not like another Jamaican man. Vast clot.
That's fucking stupid. Anyway,
I'm mad.
He knows what I mean. He knows what I
that's
mean.
fucking stupid. That's
This,
fucking
He
this
knows
stupid.
exactly
situation
what I'm
with the
trying to
house
say.
with the Fulanese is not
He knows
unwarranted, brother.
exactly
You
what
got
I'm
to
trying
be
to say.
fair to yourself. We've seen what we've seen over the years, bro. It's not
If
unwarranted. We're
people
not
have
being
to be
unfair to you.
realistic, that's what it is.
Elvis.
Hold on.
A
If
typical
the
Igbo
if,
man
hold
is
on,
just mad
hold on,
because
bang,
of
hold on,
their
hold on,
leaders
bang,
cannot defeat the
bang,
Fulanese. That's all it is.
bang. I disagree. If the United States was to use somebody, because I was thinking, how is the United States going to depose Ibrahim Traore? I was thinking, there's no way. He's too protected. There's too much interest. And even tonight just said at some point, maybe the Black Americans is the reason why America hasn't directly affected Africa. So I said, how is the United States really going to affect this guy? Maybe they just want to test a reaction. They just want to see the reaction. And I looked at the situation. I said, if they're going to depose this guy, they will use an opposing force. And the opposing force is the Fulani. They will use the Fulani against Ibrahim Traore. Because
Be quiet. Be quiet, man, my friend. Okay, this thing started right about let's say about 8 years ago, right, or about 9 or 10 years ago, right? Igbos, right, had videos, right, on their phones, right, spread around within themselves, right, showing their people cutting the head of Fulanese on the ground with a sword.
Are you out of your mind? Do you know what they did to the Igbo people in that country? The Igbos are one of the few people I respect in Nigeria because they fight back against the Fulanese, man. They fight back against them.
I'm getting to the point.
The Fulanis are the proud
when
head
they started,
choppers.
right? When they
You
started,
literally
right?
had a Fulani on this
They
video
started
saying we love to chop down two heads.
Islamic that, right? A couple years ago, right? And it slowly transitioned, for the past 4 to 5 years.
Wasn't it self-defense? Wasn't it self-defense?
It's the Fulani, the Fulanese hard men.
The Igbos don't let them dominate them. That's why they don't like the Igbos. They got this 100-year disdain for the Igbos. Since Tafawa Balewa was killed in a coup, they've sworn that the Igbos will never have power in Nigeria, and they've done everything to try to undermine the Igbos of ever coming to the helm of power in Nigeria. We know that. Since the Agoya
Let me ask the Fulani man
in
a question.
1960s, they've never let the Igbos rest. We know it.
I need to ask. We need to have a good conversation with this Fulani brother. Listen, bro.
You have a
Are you going to deny? Are you going to deny the herdsmen? The herdsmen crisis in Nigeria.
Hold on, one mic. African Wahala, go ahead. Don't interrupt African Wahala. Go ahead, African Wahala.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to ask the Fulani guy questions because I see he's defensive and it's understandable because that's your ethnic group. So it's natural for you to be defensive, but you have to be honest at the same time. Are you going to deny that there is a scourge of Fulani herdsmen killing people in their farms across Nigeria in the last 10 years, especially?
Do you want me to answer that question? Are you going to interrupt me? Okay.
No.
Okay. You got to understand about the Fula people, right? Or the Fulani people, right? Their foundation of money comes from cow. Understand that now. Understand that. When somebody has about, let's say, walking around, with his cow, right? Has about, let's say, 20 cows, right? That's their physical money. You see it right there. You understand? It's like me walking down the street in New York City with a bunch of jewelry and everything at nighttime down in Brooklyn. Somebody gonna jack me. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's how the Fulanese are. So when you interrupt them with their cows, they have no other needs. They become something else.
Hold on, bang, but you can't encroach on other people's property, bang, with your cows.
Their cows, right? It's much more precious than their own child.
But bang, you can't bang.
How come you're living in America?
Bang,
in New York. Wait, you live in New York.
Hold on, what mic? But bang, you can't graze and encroach and trespass on other people's property with your cows. Do you agree, bang? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. But this is not like, the Fulanese just started coming in Nigeria for the past 50 years now, or the last 20 years now. The Fulanese have been in Nigeria in my understanding, for like what, 200 or 300 or 400 years now, if I'm not mistaken. They always had cows.
But Don, what you got to understand, they feel like they have an inherent right to allow their cow to graze wherever. That's the problem. That's why you got to research the Ruger herdsmen and what they did to Nigeria, the central part of Nigeria. Research the Ruger herdsmen in Nigeria.
Again, bang, do you agree?
Now we know what to kill.
Bang, do you? Okay, so bang, do you support Fulani, their cows grazing and trespassing on other people's property. Do you support that?
No, I do not. Because at the end of the day, you are interrupting somebody else's crops.
Okay,
Look,
so
livelihood.
do you see why people will have a problem with that? And then when people call certain Fulanis out for doing that, why do the Fulanis get offended about it and ready to fight?
Hold on, Dennis. Let me even make it more.
Let me answer that question.
Bang. Let me make it more question. Bang. Let me make it so
question. Hold on.
Let him answer. Let Ahmed answer, brother. I want to hear
let him answer that question, bro. We need to hear his mind.
Okay. And let's say in Sierra Leone, right? So somebody, you know what I'm saying, somebody else's cow go to where somebody else is planting, like, you know, their rice or their corn, you know, whatever, right? And then the cow mess it up, right? So you get to the person that owns the cow, or you get to the leader within that town, and then, you know, they settle the case, or the case goes to the paramount chief or the chief itself, right? They settle the case. They exchange for money, or they exchange for whatever, right? It happens in West Africa all the time.
That happens in Sierra Leone because they're a minority group in Sierra Leone. In Nigeria, they think they run the shit.
You missing the point.
No, I'm telling you, you gotta be honest. When somebody is a minority and they know they have no real power in the place, they settle, they negotiate. In Nigeria, they feel like they're the minority because they have the Hausa.
Can I say
that's the difference?
Exactly.
Okay, but bang. So me and a Fula girl were having this conversation years ago. Like, why won't the Fula just set up like just cattle ranches like people do here in America?
You wanna know why, Dennis?
Exactly.
Let me answer that question, right? Okay.
Yeah, just set up cattle ranches like they do in America. My family has them in Mississippi.
They can't do it like that. Ranches. They cannot do it like the Western countries.
Why?
A cow is very sacred to them.
Oh God.
I'm telling you.
Don't be talking about sacred cows because we know what they do to those cows, man. We don't want to go there, but we know what they do to those cows, man.
And you know, you guys are the reason why even we, the Yoruba, started clamoring for Nigeria to break in the last 5 years. Because we weren't that way. It was until we realized that, listen, man, these guys are going to destroy us.
What you trying to tell you in a nutshell is that they feel like the cow deserves to have free range. Just how some people like to do free range chicken, they feel like that cows deserve to have free range and to graze anywhere they please.
Exactly. Yeah, and if that means killing us, that's fine.
Let me inject real quick, right? Let me say something. Like, for instance, my father, right? His father. When his father passed away, right? It was the cows that they used for him to go to school and go to college. You understand? A typical Fulani or Fula people, their money, their wealth is attached to their cows.
Bang. I understand that. That's fine. But I know, hold on. But bang, I understand that. But here in America, you have very, very, very wealthy cattle herders and ranchers that call ranches. So why not just set up ranches?
Okay, good question, right? When you look at their culture, right, within the Fulanese people, right, or the Fula people, right, everything comes back to the cow. When it comes to name, when it comes to lifestyle, everything comes back to the cow. They can't just do it like the way the typical American does it. Put you know what I'm saying? Put the cows in the cage and then just bring the food. And then
they even have a because they don't believe that the cows are too precious to be stable in one place. They have to have free range, Donis. That's the thing.
Let me put this guy in his place. Bang. So the cows are the wealth of the Fulanis, right? What about the farmer?
Like walking down
okay, no problem.
Around 2 o'clock a.m. by himself with jewelry on.
And bling. And in all honesty and all fairness, they are semi nomadic people. So they don't like to stay one place for too long. They like to move around. So in fairness to them.
It seems like the farms are the actual wealth of other groups. So
that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. The farms and the farmers, their crops are their wealth, just like the cows are your wealth. So if you start fucking taking from other people's wealth for other people, you see how they can create a problem. I'm from a farming community, and we know how Fulanis have been a problem. They think every fucking cow belongs to them, and even they eat everybody fucking crops. So the cows are your wealth. We work hard. We tailor the land to build our wealth, and you come and fuck it up. You eat everything up. You see what I'm saying? So that is not fair, is it?
No, they think they got domination over Nigeria, brother, because of the house. So that's why I keep saying. They think they own the land.
You're a
Your
wicked
king,
son of bitches.
island man, your king in England is the wicked son of a bitch. Your
Oh
king in
man.
England make sure that he
Bro,
cannot
you
come
want to have
to
so
his
much energy
country
for the
without
island
a
man.
visa.
Have the energy
Without
for
a visa,
us, bro.
a
Have that
Jamaican need a
energy for
visa,
us.
but a
Why are you
Haitian is a
listen,
king.
bro? You
So be
just
quiet,
proved
my
to us
friend.
today that you
Be quiet, my friend.
Fulanese, even
Be quiet,
outside
my
of
friend.
Nigeria,
Be
have
quiet,
the
my
same
friend. Your
mentality
head of
of
state
of
is
of
the king
putting
of
the
England,
value of the life of a
but
cow
a
over
Jamaican need a
human
visa.
beings. And
A
that's a
Jamaican need a
problem.
visa to
That's why
Jamaica
it's
go see
impossible to live with you
You,
guys. Because you guys are savages, bro. What do you make
yeah,
it like
you
the
are
value
the,
of a cow?
you-
The value of a cow, you're comparing that to the value of a human, and you expect us to be
yeah,
living with you guys in
you are, you
2025?
are, you are the infidels of Africa, the heathens of Africa.
In
Hey, but
2024,
no offense though,
We have the
man.
Buhari
Those
put
money.
out a
those
bill. Bro, let me tell
Idama
you guys
cows that
what
the
happened in
Fulani race,
Nigeria.
them bitches are delicious, man. You ever try those Fulani
Buhari,
cows?
Buhari
Oh no,
told us in the
can
south
we
that
can
cows
we
have to
can we
roam
stop?
around in our
Hey,
farms and we don't have a choice about it. That's what Buhari told us in 2022. In the
We have
21st
a typical
century,
Nigerian
you're
thinks he's
telling
better than
us
everybody.
that we
So
don't
the
have a right
Fulanese
to
show you who's
protect
better.
our farms from
Correct.
Fulani
Correct.
herders.
That's what
How
it
can a
is.
country
Yeah,
work if the
that's what I'm
president
saying. And
is
that,
That's correct.
supporting a
Idama
savage
thinks
group
he's
that
better.
kills the
yeah,
people?
that
Idama
was a
thinks he's
big
better.
betrayal by the president of
Buhari thinks
Nigeria
he's
to
better.
give those
Yeah,
people
but
free range.
Thinks he's better.
Most of them came from
he's a
Niger,
You
Fulani.
think you better? I'm better
you
than
know.
y'all.
Yeah,
So
but he's
they
a
had a drought
Fulani.
going on in
So
Niger, so they had to come to Nigeria and come further down to the more fertile land for their cows to graze on Yorubas and other groups' lands. That's fucked up. And I mean, you can't be in favor of that shit. Let's just get
You
that
don't
right.
understand.
Are
There's
you
nothing
are
in
you
Nigeria
against
leadership
your
wise I
fellow
would take
Fulanese
and
coming
put it
into
in
other
another
people's land
African
and
country.
grazing? Dinus asked you
they
that. You said
want
no.
the people.
Elvis, let me
They
Elvis,
are,
let me
they
tell you.
are land thieves. They are
Let me tell
land
you.
thieves.
My
That's
I
what
friend,
can
they
fire.
are.
your king of
I can
England
fire.
is
I can fire.
a
Let me tell
land
you a
thief.
recorded story. Let me
You
tell you a
need
recorded
visas to go
story.
see your king.
Let me tell you a recorded
He's
story.
your king.
One second,
Head of state.
Ahmed, let him speak, please.
Hold on.
Haile
Are you
Selassie is my
are you
king.
Ayuba Diallo?
Haile
Your king
Ayuba,
of
Selassie is my
England.
king.
You need
hold
visa
on,
to go
time.
see your king.
One
Hold on.
mic, bro. Let the dude
Ayu,
speak.
Ayuba Diallo, a Fulani, was took a couple of black people to the coast of Africa to sell them for slaves. He took them to sell them for slaves, and inadvertently he was captured as a slave, and they shaved his head to make him look like other black people to distinguish him as a Fulani. He looked like every other black because they shaved his head, and he didn't have that pretty good hair anymore. They took his hair off. So once they sold him as a slave, he was just like every
It's
other
not
slave.
good here.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
good here.
no,
It's hard here.
I'm trying to hear the story. Go ahead, Darth.
Yeah, so he was taken to America, and he unfortunately he had the position of being a house Negro because he could read and write and all that stuff. But all the other Bantu niggers were working in the farm. The slave master said, "Oh, so you can write in Arabic, isn't it? Okay, that's good." They actually got him to send him back to Africa. They sent him back to Africa, to his homeland. Instead of stopping the slavery, he continued on selling the slaves. After he seen what happened to black Americans over there in America, he continued selling more slaves after he got returned back from slavery.
Yeah,
That is fucked up.
most Fulani don't consider themselves pure
Savages.
African, bro. They're a mixture. They're Afro-Asiatic people, man. They don't consider
Guys,
Exactly.
themselves real
They're
guys,
not.
African.
let me pass it to Maximilian. Go ahead, Maximilian.
Hey, what's going on, Dennis? I don't want to get too deeply into this, but because I don't know the politics of it, but what I've been listening for an hour. The first thing you have to do is respect people's property rights. If you don't own the property, you have no right to be grazing all over Nigeria. That is not your property. If a man has a farm there, you have to respect his property. If your cows come on my land in America and I tell you to come get them, they're gonna be mine. So and like somebody said, y'all have been there for 200 years. Nigeria is a lot older than 200 years. So I don't know how long y'all been there, but maybe y'all need to go with what Nigeria's laws are. You cannot graze on something that does not belong to you. I don't give a damn about your religion. I don't give a damn about what you believe. You can, whatever you believe, don't. My property is not your property. When I have a farm, that's my farm. When I feed my family with my farm, I don't give a damn about your cows. That's my land. You have to respect that other people have property. It's just that simple. And anybody making an excuse for that, you wouldn't last 2 minutes in America or any other civilized country. You cannot allow your farm animals to graze on stuff that does not belong to you when it's infringing on other people. That's just common sense.
Savages.
That's my opinion.
They had that different motive.
Nigeria is
That's
not
not
older
the
than 200 years old. Max.
that's not the reason.
Nigeria became a country in like 1964
I was
or
talking about the Filoni.
1960.
They say
Talking about
they've
the
been there
area.
200 years.
He talking about the area, dude.
Okay. First of all, right? Nigeria is very big. It's very, very big. It's massive.
Yeah.
It's massive. Of course, man. Of course, there's gonna be issues with the Fulanis. You know what I'm saying, with their cows and stuff like that, right? Nigeria is very big. You understand the complex of how these
No,
people
that's
that
not what it
control
is.
Nigeria,
Is
what
that
they
the
use.
Fulani set up in the northern part, which has less arable land and is more of a desert kind of area, and the more fertile land is further down south. That's the
let me
issue.
say this. Let me say this part. America's big too. Canada's big. Europe is big. We have property rights. You have to respect everybody's property. If it does
Of
not
course, they have
belong,
property rights in Nigeria.
if you want somewhere to graze your cows, buy the land. And if you
Of
don't
course they
have
have
nowhere to,
somewhere-
well, let me finish. If you want somewhere to graze your cows, buy the land. If you don't have enough land for your cows to graze, sell the cows. You have no right to infringe on another man's property. And that's just, I thought that was universal. I thought that was even
That's
in
everywhere.
the biblical days.
That's everywhere.
So
They
it
don't
shouldn't be an
care.
argument.
That's everywhere. That's
And
everywhere.
the last
They have
point I'm gonna get, and Dinosaur, I love you, I'm gonna get off. No matter what your disagreement is, anytime that you take anybody's life that didn't have nothing to do with it, everybody in Africa should come together to eliminate you, whoever you are. If you attack a village, you kill innocent people, you have no right to be in any country because you're not a human.
Yep.
Mr.
That's
Maxwell.
my opinion. That's my opinion.
Sir.
I'm not
You seem
calling.
like an elder.
I'm saying anybody
I have a
who
respect
kills
for you.
innocent
Let me say
who
something.
kills innocent people. Innocent people. I mean, moms and aunties, and you run into a village and kill somebody because you mad about a goddamn cow. I got a problem with you.
Let me say something, right? See, the issue is, right? You guys keep getting y'all news from the social media.
Oh,
These social
Lord.
media
Come on,
No,
man.
we see people
from
dying, bro. We know when I see
Hey,
people
man,
dying in the
listen,
streets,
listen,
I know they're people.
Man,
Bro,
hold
we
on,
watch
Mike,
TV.
man.
Come on now.
Hey, yo, hold on. Hey,
Go
Willie,
ahead,
you there, Willie? You there, Willie? Willie, you there? Okay, Willie, you ain't there, then you just gotta drop off.
Dennis, that was my point. I'm gonna get off.
Dinah, can I say
You gotta
something?
respect people's property, and you cannot kill people because you pissed off. Because if you're pissed off and you don't like what something do, you go vote on stuff. You don't go kill people for innocent people for just what that's gonna do. Make everybody hate you.
You live in
Anybody
America,
who
right?
kills, but let me finish. I don't give a damn if I'm in Ethiopia. You don't kill innocent people regardless.
You live in America, right? If
Yes.
somebody steals your let's say $50, right? The typical American, right, might take your life. Might take your life just for $50. The typical American might take your life. You understand? If somebody steals my cow, right? Once again, y'all don't get it.
It's a cow, brother. It's a cow. It's a goddamn
you don't
cow.
understand. It's not just
Okay,
a cow.
but bang. Listen. Are you saying people are coming onto Fulani, cattle ranches and stealing cows?
They have no territory. They have none, Dinah. Sorry.
Yes.
They have none. That's why they roam around. Cut it out, please, bro. Cut it out. That's why you're nomads.
That is not true.
Nomads have no territory, sir.
Do you know the kidnapping that happens in Nigeria is done by mostly Fulani?
They need to buy some. Guys, they don't. Dinah, can I say something real quick? What Maximilian said was very, very important. Maximilian made a very important point about property rights. These nomads have no concept of property rights. Number one, they think all cattle on earth belong to them. Number two, they believe any grazing land is their territory. And it happens in East Africa, it happens in West Africa. What we
And
did
they
in
believe
East
that
Africa,
they are the best people. They
Let
believe
the brother speak, please. He got the knowledge. I think he's a Nigerian. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm not a Nigerian, sir. I am a Kenyan. I'm an East African and I'm a Nilot. I'm a Luo. Our people are related to these nomads, but the East African side. But our people.
I'm speaking from fairness. I don't care. I don't know one tribe from the next.
No, let me just finish what I'm saying, Damon.
One mic. Go ahead.
Let me just finish what I'm saying. I am an East African. I am a Nilot. I'm not Bantu. My people are we are the people of the Nile. We are the true ones. We're not capping. My people have lived along the Nile for thousands of years. We come from the south of Sudan. We migrated down to Kenya. We lived with these nomads. They're our relatives genetically, but we chose to be fishermen. And yes, we keep cattle, but we do keep homesteads like our Bantu neighbors. The Luo have never fought wars with the Bantu that we never had to. We've always lived side by side with them. Our cousins, on the other hand, are a bit wild. But in East Africa, we learn to live with each other. Now, there's something happening in West Africa with these Fulani. There's something going on up there, bro, and it's really wild, and we see it. People in Southern Africa see it. People in East Africa see it. People in Central Africa see it. Let's not act like it's not happening, gentlemen. This violation of property rights, these people have no concept of it, Dynast. None. They think everybody is lesser than them.
Exactly.
They were involved in the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. They were Muslims. They saw the Bantu indigenous people who were not Muslims as fair game.
They started it.
Please check your history.
Can I ask y'all a question? Why don't you
Yes, ma'am.
kill all the damn cows then? If they like them that much, kill all the damn cows.
Max. If you did that, Max, I get what you're saying, Max, but if you did that, you'd have to do the same with them. And we can't do that. We can't do that.
You see?
We have to re-educate them.
In America,
y'all don't understand.
Let me tell you.
Y'all keep comparing cows to America.
Thanks, Dynast. Thank you for this. I'm listening.
If you infringe on somebody's property in America, I can kill your cow. And if you got a problem with it, you come on to do something to me, I can kill you on my property.
Yes, Max, because, yes, I agree with you, because that is the American culture. Everybody in America agrees with that. The problem is, they don't. There's millions of people we're talking about. It's millions versus millions. It's not clean cut.
Yeah, you have to be careful here, because those who have America's interest in heart can tell you to go against war with the Fulanis because there are many, and America could sponsor the Fulanis to kind of do more.
Well said, Dad. This is why I like South Africans. You're xenophobic, but you are smart. Very smart.
So
that's
I
what I'm
y'all,
saying.
man. I'm out though, y'all. I'm out.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Peace, Max. Indian, Choctaw.
There is no people that the United States has to dethrone Ibrahim Traore apart from the Fulanis. And they are the Fulanis that are more incensed about the situation right now, because even the Russians have been there. The Russians have dealt with them in Chad, in Sudan. They've dealt with them in Chad, in Sudan, and everywhere. And they say, you know what? Everywhere we go in Africa to do this security, it's always these people. And they told Ibrahim Traore, you're going to have to deal with these people. There's no ifs and buts about it. You're going to have to deal with them.
Doc, can I advise you something? What you just said is very important. It's what we did in East Africa. If there's any Somalis listening, you should call in. You see what we did in Kenya? Kenya has been engaged in Somalia since the year 2005. Most people don't even know that. Permanent occupation. What we did is this. Anybody holding a weapon, we deal with you in the battlefield. No talking, no negotiation, no arrest.
You're not dealing, they're increasing in Kenya, the population. If they become much more in the population, you'll be dealing with them in a different way. They're increasing.
No. I'll tell you about the Kenyan Somalis. We've changed them. A lot of them are not even true Muslims. Did you know that? We changed them.
Here come another one from the
Same
east.
with Doc.
Here come another one from the east.
Tanzania is 60+% Muslim. Have you ever heard of terrorist attacks there?
Tanzania, well, not so far, but yeah. Okay.
They're Muslims, but they never do any of this madness that these other Muslims do. This is what we learned from. This is what we learned. This is what we learned, and this is what we're perfected as Kenyans. What we do is this: the older ones, F them. The younger ones, we bring them into our system. They abandon Islam. You don't shoot them, you don't fight them. You separate the older from the younger. Bring in the younger into your culture. You educate them. You give
What
them
culture?
jobs, and they let go of that nonsense. They are the older ones. We'll deal with them in the battlefield.
Yeah, just
We
like
are
William
winning.
Ruto.
The Fulani is laughing. The Fulani is laughing.
Just
Let
like
him
William
finish.
Ruto. Just like William Ruto.
That's the
Exactly.
only way to
About
deal with
Ruto,
them.
we've had
Exactly.
Moy.
Exactly.
You think Ruto's bad? We had a
That's
guy
crazy, man.
called Moy
You
for
jokes, man.
24 years.
You
This
guys
is
are
how
not
I know
serious
you people don't know
about
history.
peace in West Africa.
Yeah,
We
man, I
had
know
someone
more.
called
Go ahead.
You guys are
Daniel
jokes.
Arap Moy for 24 years. You think Ruto's bad?
Man,
You
you
don't
guys are
even know
jokes,
what
man.
you're talking about. Go
Well,
ahead.
he didn't play.
You
Moy.
guys are jokes. William Ruto's gonna
Listen,
come to save East
Ruto,
Africa.
because that's what
right.
they're seeing on
That's
this
right. That's right.
YouTube stuff.
William Ruto is coming to save East Africa.
Ruto's going home next year. His elections are next year. He's going home.
These people, you
Bang,
understand?
bang, bang, bang. But the fact is, the reality is, you Fulanis, right? You're not really
Yeah.
indigenous to the region, right?
You
You're.
guys are
The Muslim.
too much
That's Islam.
Hold on.
Just
Let me
say
tell
it.
you.
It's a
Let me
hate.
tell you. No, it's not hate. It's not hate. Let me tell
When
you,
you
it's
see
not
somebody
hate.
with 50 cows,
You are
100 cows,
African.
you know what's money
You
is
are
that?
African. Bang,
Man,
you
be
are
quiet.
African. Bang, you are African. You people are definitely African.
They think
You
they're
are
Arabs.
You are the African people that inhabited North Africa and the Sahara when it was green. But because the
And
desert
you're
was
black.
coming, yes, and because the desert was increasing,
Island man.
you kept moving
king, go
down
see your
south.
king.
Hold on, you kept moving down
Sign
south
up for a
as the
visa. Go
desert
see your
was
king.
happening. You come from the Sahara when it was green. You are. Some people might even say you are the ancient Egyptians. You have connection to them, so you are
Right.
African. But you
In
don't belong
You
to
all
West
are
Africa.
black. Hold on,
In
you all
You don't
are
Nigeria.
belong to
black.
West Africa.
In
You see me?
Nigeria. In
You're not
Nigeria.
Arabs.
In Nigeria. The
Big up
Fulani is
Icon,
corrupt.
by the way. Salute to you. I've seen you for
Whatever
like
tribe.
a few years, bro.
I got a king within. I'm gonna pass
Respect.
hold on, one mic.
Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, right? We always talk about France and America and Europe, you know what I'm saying? But you know, the Muslims, they the ones that use the Fulani to destabilize Africa too.
Facts.
That's just what it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah,
y'all never talk about that,
Qatar.
and that's what it is. You don't never wonder why America ain't never over in Saudi Arabia over there talking about gayism and the LGBTQ and all that, because they the white people of Asia. They work hand in hand. Look at what's going on over there in Yemen and all. Man, come on, man. They work together over there to keep Africa destabilized. They was doing that, doing the slave trade, and it's that way today.
My brother, what you just said is very true. The UAE is currently sponsoring the destruction in Sudan. Thank you for saying that, my brother. The UAE.
And Nigeria, they are the ones. They are. A lot of people don't understand in Niger, but Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, it's UAE is arming these people, these terrorists.
Yeah,
you feel
And
me?
they're doing it. They're doing it from Chad.
Let King within finish. Go ahead, King within.
And it's not just them. It's the Europeans as well. You know what I'm saying? It's the Europeans as well, because if Africa ever reaches its pinnacle, then they all go broke. They all become third world nations. They can't allow that.
There's something we have to do, gentlemen. We have to.
Prepare yourselves, because it's coming.
Hey guys,
Could
let
be
me
more.
Let me pass the mic to Philip, because Philip, if King within, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, go ahead, Philip. Philippe, I'm sorry, Philippe.
Hey, no, it's all good. You know I respond to both. What's up, fellas?
Peace, Philippe.
What's cracking?
How are you? So really quick, and you know, I'm not an expert on this topic. I just did like some quick map study. Dinus, I actually texted you a map or two, particularly the one with the export goods that the path of the Fulanis cover. And basically what I was able to deduce was this, that the Fulanis benefited from the Saharan trade greatly coming from Eastern Africa into Western Africa. It made them rich. They were mercantile people. And specifically, I looked at from 900 to 1500 that they covered the area of salt, gold, ivory, and slaves. So these were people that had wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Then, post-slavery, I looked at it, and they are in the area, I was just writing it down, they're in the area of uranium, oil, petro products, and cotton. So then I started to look at who and what is the money behind this. And what I figured out or am deducing is this. They were the perfect group. These, and it's not just the Fulani, it's several of these
Buffer.
Muslim converted groups.
Yeah.
That had really benefited from that Sahara trade and later the slave trade that were then in the modern era of country states made poor. And so and that's why the cows then became kind of their piggy bank.
The currency.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a lie.
So I'm just throwing this out. I mean,
that's a lie.
Is that
that's a lie.
How is it everybody saying one thing, but it's all a lie to you? How is everybody coming up with the same kind of story and source, but everything is a lie to you?
Hold on, let me just land and
sorry, Philippe.
You can fight it out.
Let the man keep talking.
What I'm looking at, and I looked at this last report that's come out of USAID, and it said that billions of dollars have been poured into that region through USAID to create disruptors. In addition to that, what Atticus just said, you have the United Arab Emirates playing a role in the region, and also the Saudis, well as the French. So when you look at what they represent, let's just look at the interest, which is where I was going. I'm going to land here, right? So I said that their area that they cross is oil, gold, cotton, uranium, and petro products. So who are the countries that would benefit the most from this area being disrupted?
20 seconds. Thank you very much, Philippe. What Dinus, what Philippe said, the territory.
Well, it's Philip, are you done?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, that's the core of my argument. I don't want to point the finger other than to say
Great analysis. Great analysis.
Great analysis. Great.
The core of it is that we have allowed all of these various countries not to enforce secularism, which is separating religion from economics.
And state.
And state, correct. And because we have not done that, it allows what I consider, people were talking about the Fulani, but there are other groups as well. These are anachronistic groups. These are groups that did not reform as time passed. And so some of that same mercantilism that led them to get into the slave trade still exists.
Savagery.
That still exists. But they aren't the only one.
King in England
they aren't the only one. You find this in the Middle East and you find this in West Asia. It's an issue.
Yes, Philippe, you need to write a PhD paper, dog.
Look at Libya.
Excellent.
The same thing going on in Libya right now.
Let Philip finish. Go, Philip.
They aren't the only ones. And this is what I wanted to say to the larger panel. Rather than attacking one another and these groups, because we can see what's going on, and I will not deny that it's barbaric, but we're looking at the people and saying, that's why you're this, and this is why I'm that, and that's why, when actually what's happening is there are people that have interests, the outsiders who have interest in the resources that they sit upon, we're able to flip them
to then trigger the divide and conquer that we saw on this panel. And
I just want to say one thing to what Philippe's point said, and I keep quiet. Thank you very much, Philippe. That was an excellent analysis. My suggestion is let us separate the younger types from the older types. And let's bring the younger types into our folds as we did in East Africa. It worked. The older types are calcified, gentlemen. They're not going to change. They're not going to change. Cuddy, you know what I'm saying. They're not going to change. But the younger types, we can bring aboard.
I've been in Nairobi. I know it ain't going to change.
We bring the younger ones.
You have to get rid of them.
Okay, sir. William Ruto is going to come save East Africa.
He's going home next year. When you keep saying William Ruto, he's been president for like one term.
Say West Africa. William Ruto.
He keeps saying that like this guy's been president for like 10 years. He's been president for 4 years.
It's the Messiah. That's right.
4 years? That's got you all bugged up. 4 years?
All I'm saying is this. In Nigeria.
Oh, you're from Tinubu's land.
Another
oh my God. Here comes Mr. Tinubu.
The ones
talk about Ruto, and you got Tinubu.
Atticus, let me ask Felipe. Felipe, I'm looking at the situation what it is right now. I mean, you can look at the Chinese and you can say, oh, we blame the Chinese. The Chinese are imprisoning Uyghurs and all that stuff. But we've seen what happens when you have an Islamist contingent in your region. We've seen what happens, right? So can you blame the Sahelian leaders for actually taking the situation to its doorstep as well? Can you blame them for having Fulanis as casualties, considering that the fact that most of the actual people Fulanis harbor in their neighborhoods? The Russians came and say, we've seen these people in Sudan, we've seen these people in Central African Republic, we've seen them in Chad. But we come here now and we see the same people again doing this Wahhabist terrorism that's coming from Saudi Arabia. It's not all. I even asked some of the Senegalese.
And Qatar, my brother. Saudi, Qatar.
Yeah, I even asked some of my Senegalese brothers, I say, were you more Muslim when you were Sufi Islamists, or now when you're now Wahhabis? Because now everybody's running around wearing those veils and all that stuff in Senegal.
You know what? You just brought up a great point. The reason why this extremism amongst the Fulahs isn't present as much in the Senegambia is because they're Sufis.
Yes, but that's changing.
No. Sunni are the ones that go with Wahhabism.
I said they're Sufis, not Sunni.
No, I understand, Dinus. The Sufi are not the Sunni.
Right.
We know them. The Sunni are the ones that are
Nah, you're wrong. The Sufis are part of the Sunni. They're all part of the Sunnis. They're not Shia.
Have to defend themselves against you.
About the Sufis are the more peaceful ones. And
honest, no, I get it, Dennis, but they're under the Sunni branch of Islam. There are two branches.
They're Shia.
They're Shia and then they're Sunni. And under those two groups, you have different school of thought.
The Sufis are completely separate from Sunnis and Shia. Completely separate. In fact, Sunnis and Shias don't respect Sufis.
Exactly.
The Sufis are in they're in Yemen. The Sufis are in Yemen.
No, Sufi, Shia, Alawite.
Sufis are Sunnis, brother. They follow the Sunnah. That's what it means. They follow the Sunnah of the Prophet.
These Sufis that I know are
you know the difference.
They don't respect them because they add other things to the religion. They're not fundamentalists.
That's why they're called that.
No, but they're still following the Sunni school of thought.
You Sunni are Wahhabis. You know them.
No, Wahhabis is another school of thought.
It is of Sunni. It comes from Saudi. And
man, you guys don't understand. You don't
Wahhabis
understand Islam.
never attacked Israel. Have you noticed that? Wahhabis never attacked Israel. ISIS never attacked Israel. Al-Qaeda never attacked Israel. They're all Zionists. All these people, these Wahhabists from this Sunni branch, bro. This thing that emanates from Saudi. The one that tell them 5 times a day, face Saudi Arabia. This thing has to be stopped, bro.
I feel
Can I say something real
cry
quick?
for black people. I cry for black people. I
These
cry
guys
for black
are
people the day they met
some
Islam.
notes, man.
You know, I cry
Can I
for
say
black
something?
people.
Finished out here, bro. We're not going to support terrorism amongst
Yeah.
our children.
The
It's not
Chinese did it.
going
The
to
Chinese
happen.
did it.
So
The
who's
Chinese did it.
Imagine,
Felipe,
they don't look at themselves as black Arab
So
worshippers.
who's the
They
terrorist?
don't look at themselves like that.
I
You
can.
black
They
people,
pray to the
you
Arab
worshiping,
man
you
5 times
worshiping
a
an
day. They
Arab.
turn to
It's not
Mecca.
look, it's not
They
about
pray to
religion,
the
right?
Arab man.
We could all have different religion in Africa. You can be a Muslim, a Christian, a traditionalist, but it's what
Yes.
the religion teaches you and what the ideology is that it professes, right? And
Well
that's
said.
why people think I hate Islam. But if you read the Quran and you read the Hadiths, you realize that this is a religion of conquering. This is a religion that requires you to
It's a war religion.
yeah. So that's why I disagree with it. I don't disagree with it because it's a religion that people follow, right? African traditional religion, these people do their things, they do their spirituality, but they will never tell you that their core belief is to subjugate and to enslave
Well
other
said,
people if they don't agree with their beliefs. That's
Well
the
said.
difference. That's
Hold
the
on,
difference.
guys. Can I
Islam,
just
they
say
want to
something?
subjugate you. They want you to surrender.
No African religion will ever force itself upon other people. If you're not born in it, you're not a part of it. But Islam,
You said what?
Islam will take up arms. Islam will kidnap women and girls.
One second, brother.
Islam will
Ahmed, you're
take
saying something. What are you saying to me, Ahmed?
Wait, hold on. The Christianity did the same thing.
What was you saying to me,
Show me
Ahmed?
where it's
They
done it
did the
now.
same
Show
thing
me where
Hannah
it's done it now.
said.
Show me where it's done it now. Show me where it's done it now, sir.
You say what?
Show me where it's done it now. I can show you what happened yesterday in Islam.
Wait. You ain't never heard the Crusades?
We're losing.
How many hundreds of years ago was that?
We're losing the point. It's not.
You
How many
sound like
hundreds of years
the
ago was
people
that?
you sound like the people that say that slavery was 1,000 years
How
ago.
many? When were the
That's what you
Nigerian
sound
girls
like.
taken again? Was it hundreds of years ago?
That's what you sound like. They doing the
When was
same
the last
thing
terror
today.
attack?
They doing
100
the
years
same
ago?
thing today. They just not
When
holding a
was the
cross over
last
their
terror
heads and
attack,
saying it.
sir?
They
Sir,
doing the
when
same
was the
thing
last
today.
terror attack? Please answer us.
Who was
When
the
was the last terror
crusade
attack?
going after?
What was the last terror attack?
I can. Let me ask him. When was the last terror attack?
Okay, let's see.
When? No.
The
Answer
last
me. Answer me. Don't take me
Guys,
back
you
no
gotta have some
crusade.
decorum, man.
Almost
One person at a
500 years
time.
ago.
wait.
When was the
When you
last
say,
terror
hold
attack?
on a
Guys, you
minute.
gotta step in here, man. One person at a time.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Hold on. Go ahead, Philip. Will you say something, Philip?
I was trying to just say we're losing the larger point in the religion thing. In this, you got to go back for a step and say, how did Islam come into Africa? How did Islam come into Africa? It came
With the sword. Sword.
Wait. It came in because under Roman rule, the Africans were getting shafted. And so all of these things were coming in as economic systems. Both the small hat religion and Islam are both an economic system and
Christianity.
And what the Muslims did was they were doing good trade. And so then the Africans were saying, well, wait a minute, under the Romans, we're getting treated like this. We're getting orders from on high, and they're months, if not, half a year of instructions that are no longer relevant, and we're not getting paid for our goods and our trade appropriate. Whereas these Muslim guys were making more money. They're doing better trade. So then that better trade led to conversions to the faith. And if you look at where the faith went, it came from...
It was by invasion first.
Wait. It came from the east into the west through the Sahara, exactly where these guys are that are disruptive. So on some level, it doesn't matter whether it's Sufi or this or that. It matters whether the state dictates whatever you are, the state is the rule. Your religion doesn't trump the nation state. And my proof of that is Turkey. If you go to Turkey, Turkey is a Muslim country, but the state dictates the rules, not the religion. And so what we're allowing to happen, and that's why I wanted to pull us back. Is
No, but
debating
Philip,
all these
Turkey has
nuances.
been notoriously secular, but they're becoming more Islamicized under Erdogan.
We allow these other groups to come in and divide and conquer us because we're not looking at what drove us to convert to these religions in the first place, which was money.
Philip, any people around the world, most people who around the world, or most people who around the world, when you have a power over you and somebody comes as an alternative, it always seems like the grass is always greener. It's not that Islam was any better than what the Romans were doing. You understand what I mean? It is just simply that it was a way for them to escape this kind of slavery from what the Romans were doing. And they saw it as that means. But the Islam imposed themselves on the people, and then that created another problem. So in civilizations, it's not that Islam was any better. It's they just came and said, you know, maybe these people will free us from this. Nope. They cut them in another
Exactly,
situation.
Darth, you guys have to mind Mozambique. You have to. I think
what's
Kenya.
funny? I never used to hear terrorism. It's funny because I always used to hear about Al Qaeda, Iraq, but I used to hear so far away when I was in Africa. Like, this is so far away from me. And then all of a sudden, Mali,
All of a sudden.
I used to watch diners go to Africa and go to Mali, Timbuktu, and I say, he's talking about my region. This is great. And all of a sudden,
It's in Mozambique.
Terrorism all over there.
That's why the United States was trying to have a base in Niger to fight ISWAP in West Africa, but everybody think it was the wrong thing to do. I mean, come on.
Let me say something about Mozambique. It is the French that brought Islam there to take over the mines and take over the oil, to disrupt the economy of Mozambique. So they have so it's all a trick. I'm telling you, it's white Christians and black Muslims fighting against. It is a team. White Christians and white Muslims and black Muslims is teaming up against Africans, black people.
You heard what Dark said. All of a sudden, there were people linked to ISIS in Mozambique, and we were like, of all the places, Mozambique, and then we find out there are mineral mines down there.
Yeah.
The areas that they're operating
link
in.
up to ISIS. That don't make them Muslims, my friend.
Yes, they are.
Could just label like
who else deals with ISIS, my brother?
You think it's the Christians that's being linked to ISIS, I mean?
Exactly. You think
in money? Yeah, if you follow the money, yeah.
What is the ISIS?
See the Islamic lies, bro.
Islamic State
in their religion, they're allowed to lie to non-Muslims.
If you follow the money.
Hold on. Let me pass the Cuddy, then I got to pass the Willie. Go ahead, Cuddy.
Now, I want to go rebound on what Felipe said. See, everybody keep pointing fingers at religion and this tribe and that tribe, but y'all haven't said nothing about the root cause to all our problems. These Caucasoid folk is the root to all the problems.
I disagree. It is right now.
I disagree too.
I disagree.
I disagree,
And
sir.
the Arab.
But let him speak. Let him finish.
No. It's the Caucasoid.
The Arab.
Let the brother finish, man.
Right?
It's both of them.
Ain't American Europe one calling the shots? Don't America fund UAE? Don't America fund Saudi Arabia? Don't America fund all these different countries? But y'all don't want to confront.
They have their own money now. They have their own money now.
Cuddy, why are we listening to them? Cuddy, no, but Cuddy, why are we listening to them? No matter how much money's thrown at us, why are we listening to them? Why is it, no matter how much money,
that's why.
Exactly.
No, Cuddy, no matter how much money's thrown at Russia, why don't the Russians break? No matter how much money's thrown at the Chinese, why don't the Chinese break? Why is it that there's always a traitor amongst them?
Do business.
They control.
White man want to control your mind, boy. White man control your mind. Chinese just want to do business.
No, but that's why I can't blame the white man, because there's people willing to be brainwashed on our sides. On the
Chinese want to
Chinese
control your
side,
mind too.
they're
They
solid.
just got to go about it a different way.
Do you know this?
There's
Why aren't Africans
nobody.
solid?
There's no group. There's
Cuddy,
no group.
why are we not solid, my brother? Why can someone buy me to betray you?
Because the
Why?
white man broke the tribes in Kenya. That's why Kenya ain't stood up. The Kikuyu was the last one to go hard. And you see how the British did the Kikuyus, right?
Everyone fought,
Yeah,
my
I know
brother.
the history of your country.
William Ruto.
They great
Everyone fought.
revolutionary.
Did you know the Kipsigis fought an 11-year war of resistance, sir?
All y'all fought.
Everybody
Y'all got
fought.
broke. For your
Everybody
TV.
fought. That's how we won, sir.
No, y'all didn't win.
We're the only armed resistance in Africa. Please check. We're the only armed resistance that went against the colonialists. Please check. That's why I'm so confident about what I'm saying. The only armed resistance.
That's not true. That's not true. Ethiopia did as
Please
well.
Google it. Please Google it. Please Google it. Please Google it. I'm not
Ethiopia
going to
did as
argue
well.
with you. I'm not going to argue with anyone. Please
Ethiopia
check
did
it.
as well.
Ethiopia was never
did as
conquered,
well.
sir. Ethiopia was never conquered.
In recent time.
Italy had they
Ethiopia was never conquered, sir.
neck though.
You said Ethiopia ain't never what?
Ethiopia was never conquered. It was an empire.
You said armed resistance. That's what you said. You said armed resistance.
He's talking about the colonies. He's talking about the colonies.
The colonies, yes.
That's who
We're
Ethiopia
the
was
only
fighting
armed
against.
resistance on the continent that fought back of all the colonies.
And what happened?
Ethiopia wasn't a colony.
I got it. Okay.
Ethiopia was never a colony, sir. I'm
You
so
said after you
confident
was
about this.
conquered. Okay, I got you.
The Ashantis fought back against the British.
Sir.
The South Africans, the Zulus, they fought back against the Boers.
So how we gonna represent for the ancestors, sir?
Yo, I talked about armed resistance.
Me too.
Armed resistance. Cuddy just said about the Kikuyu. Cuddy just talked about the Kikuyu. I'm talking about armed resistance,
All
not
the tribes
protests.
in Nairobi. I'm
Armed
talking about all the
resistance.
tribes that fought.
We had a state of emergency on our territory, bro. Every white person was walking around with a gun on their hip. That's how scared they were. I'll show you pictures of white
there, right?
women with guns on their hips.
They
What was
still
that?
there, right? Living
Which
like
one?
kings and queens, right? In Nairobi, right?
And so am I. I live like a king and queen. What are you talking about?
Bill Gates did about
What are you talking about? The richest people in Kenya are Kenyans, sir. Please check. You don't even have to argue about this. It's like South Africa right now.
Wait. You said the richest people in Kenya
are
is
actually black. They're not white. Check Ramaphosa.
He said they're Kenyan. The richest people in
Check
Kenya are Kenyan.
Ramaphosa. The richest people in South Africa. It's just like South Africa. I don't need you to believe me. You can check, sir.
I mean, the Guptas. Have you heard about the Guptas in South Africa?
Indians.
Yeah, I don't believe
they were arrested. Check Zuma. The richest people.
Ramaphosa is
The
wealthy.
king
He
of
got
the
like $200
Zulus,
million. But
the
they're
king of
billionaires
the
in South Africa.
Zulus
He's not
owns
the
a quarter of South Africa. What are you talking about?
Well, Mike, let me pass it to you and I. Go ahead, you and I.
All right, brothers, thank you so much. I just wanted to say that this is a very interesting time, and I'm so happy to see the support for Ibrahim Traore, who I call my husband. I'm so happy to see this, and I'm so happy that it's uniting Africans, and the fact that it's also coming from America, to see like a Black American guy trying to go against an African, and then for the rest of Africans around the world to rise up and to support a fellow African who is doing something great, who's fighting for sovereignty. This is something amazing. This is an amazing moment, and I'm so happy it's happening.
He just doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better yet, but we will teach him. He will come around.
That's dark.
Who are you guys talking about? Ahmed?
Go ahead, you and I. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead and
I
finish.
want to salute the Atticus guy. Is that the guy who's always talking about Rwanda? I'm from Rwanda. He's always talking about Rwanda.
Rwanda, listen, Rwanda, you know you belong to East Africa, don't you?
Yeah, that's
you know you're one of us.
That's another problem.
Stop it, Darth. Even you're part of East Africa. We take you to that.
Yeah, that's another problem. That's another problem.
Hey, you and I, I'm gonna do a show tomorrow. Kagame versus Traore, who should be the king of Africa? That's going to be the show tomorrow. You want to call
There's
him?
Prince
Kagame's
Uhuru,
the
these are
mentor.
two people who
Can't compare
cannot
them.
even be compared because Kagame is a servant of the oppressors, the same people who are trying to kill Traore. So he cannot be compared to
Revolution.
Traore. It's an insult to my husband Traore to bring my uncle Kagame of Kagamistan into this. No.
That is provocative. It gets the people going. That's
Yeah,
what he does
very
with these titles on these shows, man.
Good for content.
I don't know, man.
Look. I wonder if look, pragmatically looking at the situation. The Russians have dealt with this. The Fulanis, unfortunately for their situation, they've adopted Islam, but it's not that the cow herding is the problem. Yes, there is that. It's that jihadist mentality. They're still stuck in the medieval era. They're stuck in the medieval era of waging jihad against other people. If they, I'm sorry to say, but this is what it is. And if the Yorubas, the Igbos used to complain about Fulanis, and Yorubas didn't even pay attention. They just let it go. And then now you have Yorubas Fulanis. What I tell Yorubas is, when Igbos were crying about this situation, you were laughing at them, telling them you're being tribalist. Now look at the situation.
Yeah, the Yoruba had to find Amontekun to protect their people and their farmland. They had to form an organization to fight against the Fulani.
Fulani is taking most people's land right now in Nigeria. Isn't it Yoruba land? They're not touching Igbo land no more. Igbos are ready to kill them. They're touching. They took Ilorin. They take it much more land and all that. It's unfortunate. Is that
my friend? Be quiet, man. Be quiet.
Anyway.
Be quiet, my friend.
I bet, relax, bro. Let the man speak. Why you telling him to be quiet, man?
You are what you call it? A white man ass kisser. That's exactly who you are. That's exactly
this is his only goal. This is his only retort. You're a white man ass kisser.
Yes.
We're all African, brother. We're speaking on the African continent.
African.
Your people is decimating our greatest nation on the continent.
Remember,
and we're going to speak excuse. Oh, you love white people. You love white people. You love this. It's the cheapest excuse when they have no argument.
Because the white people paying them to keep y'all in the butt.
Listen, man. I've heard this man speak too much for me to, you know what I'm saying, like come to that conclusion. This man says a lot.
Who man?
In Nigeria, if you cannot defeat another ethnic people, they'll rule over you. That's the mentality of a typical Nigerian.
What? Do you hear this? I want you guys to hear what he just said.
You think that's what
country hear what he just said?
Medieval mentality. That's the medieval mentality. While other Yorubas and the Yorubas and docile coastal tribes think we are in a nation state.
You don't understand
These people
Nigeria. That's your
they
problem.
are in a medieval era.
They have a tendency to want to dominate other group of people. That's why the Yorubas and the Igbos have to come together to match them. And I guarantee you, a lot of Hausa will lead the Fulani. If you can't dominate another tribe, you must. Did you just hear what he said? That's the what I'm saying. That's their mentality. They want to be dominated, but when they're in a minority, like in Sierra Leone and Liberia, they're always crying and advocating for their rights. Oh, we're being prosecuted, we're being marginalized. But if they were the majority, they would be dominating everybody in those other countries. That's the difference.
Man. No, come on.
Fulanese are crying in Sierra Leone that they're being marginalized. That's why your family fled from Sierra Leone, because you guys are being chased out. The same thing happened in my country in Liberia. They get chased out too, and they cry about it because we know their ways. They're treacherous people, man.
Fulani get onto West Africa.
We control your money in Liberia, man. So
you control our money. You see, this is the nonsense. There you go.
It's not nonsense. It's not nonsense, man.
Let me give you a history lesson.
It's about defeating.
It's about defeating.
Let me give you a history lesson.
This is who they are, Diners. I hope you guys are hearing this. This is who they are. Wow.
Let me give you a history lesson. The Fulanis that are in Guinea-Conakry are known to come from Futatoro. That's like
Futajalon.
Yes, not Futajalon. Hold on, not Futajalon. They came from Futatoro, but actually that's Mauritania. That's the Sahel belt, the upper Sahel belt. That's the Saharan people. So they came from there. Due to warfare, they've traveled down and made themselves settled where they've been welcomed, like somebody that's seeking asylum. They've been welcomed by the Jalonke people. The Jalonke people welcomed them, and they settled in the Futajalon area. But then they turned against the Jalonkes and said the Jalonkes wanted to enslave them. That's why they had to rebel against it. I welcomed you to my nation, and then you turned around and killed me.
They are treacherous, bro. They are.
Hold on. There's a saying in the Senegambia region: when you welcome a Fulani into your house, be careful he doesn't take over your whole family.
Is this the same thing as the Tutsis in Rwanda? Prince Dinus, remember when we were talking about the Hutus and the Tutsis, and you were asking about the Tutsis, and we talked about how the Hutus and the Tutsis exist in every nation?
Yeah.
So I think like the Fulani issue is kind of similar and comparable to the Hutus and the Tutsis issue that we have in Rwanda.
These people don't understand cow. These people don't
Nigga, you think we care about cows? We want to understand cows? What's wrong with you, man?
Understand it. Elvis, you don't understand it. You don't understand it.
What make you think I want to understand cow, bro? We eat cow.
You know, our division is the reason they can keep their foot on our neck.
You don't, my friend.
Exact reason right here.
Yes, you don't understand it. A fool of people don't serve money. You understand?
All over the world.
One second.
How they keep their foot on our neck.
A typical fool of people, right? Don't show money. You don't go around acting like they the best with money. They hide their wealth.
Because they're treacherous. They're people who are not to be trusted. They're deceivers, bro. That's what they do. We know that.
He wants to show you how much money he has, how much he's better than you, how much.
Man, how is your people faring in Sierra Leone?
The Fulani man says, "Okay, you think you're better than me?"
They don't dominate Sierra Leone. They don't dominate Liberia. They're on the outskirts of the society.
Nigeria, my friend? Who owns Nigeria?
They're trying to infiltrate, and we're not allowing it because we see their ways.
Who owns Nigeria?
And they have little organizations begging the governments for more rights, and we say, "Hell no."
Elvis, you know how the Fulanis have increased in population in the last years. Elvis, you know, in Senegal you had Macky Sall, you had Barrow in Gambia, you had Mbalo in Guinea-Bissau, and then Keita in Mali. These people have this organization called Meiti Allah. They discuss about how they can dominate politically. They just allow the people to move around the whole place. Now Senegal, they're like the second. They're like the second largest population in Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, but they've been in Senegal for a long time. The Fulanese have been.
No. They've always been a minority. They've never been that popular. Now the Fulanis from Guinea-Conakry.
I mean,
shut up. Let somebody else talk, man. Stop whining underneath the door while you're speaking.
Every time in America, you just mad because of we dominate.
Elvis, let's not do that. Let's not shut anybody up. Otherwise, there's no conversation, guys. Let's not
the dude was talking and he just talking. We want to hear other voices, man.
Fair enough, Elvis, but let the people then just talk free, please.
No, we gotta have some kind of decorum. We can't just talk freely over each other.
Koti,
you see that? Let's stop.
You see the genetics? Do you see the? Do you see the genetics? Hold on.
Because you
see the genetics that make Black Americans. Hey, you see the genetics that make Black Americans strong and tall? Those genetics come from Gambia.
He loves his white Jesus.
That Mandinka genetics is what makes you guys strong. That's why they call it the Mandinka.
White Jesus.
Unity. Come on, man.
William Ruto is the savior of East Africa. He's the Messiah.
What do you got against William Ruto, bro?
We have Kenya's like 10 or 50 times richer than your country. Relax.
We have to talk about who is stopping unity. What about who is stopping unity? We have to talk about them.
Somalis, the Fulanis.
Let me give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Who are these poor people talking to me right now?
Okay, bro, relax. Don't be an elitist.
Don't worry about it.
William Ruto, and you're herding cattle.
Hey, don't worry about it, y'all. We're gonna come liberate all y'all in a minute.
If I have,
give us a minute. We're gonna come liberate America. We're gonna come liberate Kenya. We're gonna come liberate Jamaica. We're gonna come liberate
Traore.
Yeah, we coming.
Okay.
Can you liberate a tarmac road, please?
Okay.
Please liberate an electricity grid.
Focus on Burkina Faso, please.
Please liberate a sewer system.
Like Beyonce, we coming, and we ain't hard to find, baby.
Cuddy, could you liberate the tarmac road?
You'll be a water ball for Traore.
Huh?
See, the Congo
It's
just
just a
trying to
bad
deal
boy,
with
my
America.
How about
boy.
the sewer system? Huh? How about electricity grid? Huh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go easy on that part. Yeah, they're good.
Yes, sir.
They're
You are
not
respect,
the
my king.
aggressive one.
I was in a debate
Respect.
yesterday with some racist white people, and they asked me, Darth, who are the out group in the black race? Who are the out group? I didn't tell them which are the out group. I told them, you know what? We black people prefer an inclusive approach. We want to make Fulanis and Somalis feel as proud to be black, just like the blackest person.
Hey, Darth,
Hold on,
hold on. You should have said the ones at the bottom, the ones from the gutter, the killers, the ones that been on drugs, sold drugs, the ones from America. We the ones.
We get it, Cutter. We get your story, brother. Let it
You
finish.
should have been truthful with them, Darth. The ones that come from dancing with the devil.
He's not truthful. I think.
That's what you should have told him. You should have shook him up a little bit.
Hold on, my nigga.
Hold
on, my nigga.
Okay, Cutter, we get you, bro. 1 second.
I think an inclusive approach is better than an exclusive approach if you want to maintain power on the long run.
Do that with them.
You should make the Somali, the Fulani feel proud to be black. You should make them feel proud to be black because they hate their blackness. They
don't consider themselves fully black. That's the problem.
They don't. Yeah, they are black.
They see this step one step above regular black Africans.
Wow, you need to tell them.
They want that
Hold on, Cuddy. We need to tell them every day you are black like a tar, and you are African. You are not no Arab.
No, they have Arab admixture. That's why they look different. They got the Caribbean here.
They ain't no admixture, nothing. They dark as they come.
Admixture. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm nothing like that. They're African.
I want to say this again. I want to say this again to the Fulanis. How you feel when you go to the Hajj? When you go Hajj, do they treat you equal?
No.
Hold on, Econ. Let me. In many cases, they can't even get their visas approved to go to Hajj.
Tell them, Dynast. Tell them again. When they go to the mosque, they don't even want to pray next to them. Tell them.
Yeah. Set of Negro Arab worshippers.
Okay, well, can I?
Let's say the Negro Arab worshippers.
Man, can I respond?
All black.
Can I respond?
Muslims like that though.
Man, can I respond? First of all,
they're disrupting Africa. They have been destabilizing Africa since slavery.
Island man, go see the king, man. Go see the king in England, man. Go sign up for the visa. Go see the king in England.
The one you sold us to?
Go see the king, man. He's currently your head of state. He's currently your head of state in Jamaica. So he's currently your head of state. For you to go see your head of state, you need a visa.
What's your head of state?
I mean, you're talking rubbish, bro. You know how many times Buhari went to the UK?
What's your head of state?
How many months and years he spent in the UK for medical assistance? Come on, man. Fulani depend on the Westerners too.
What's the Fulani head of state? Is it
Elvis, man? Move on. Because this man knows what I'm saying. He understands what I'm saying.
Isn't Buhari a Fulani? Wasn't he in the UK like 2 years out of his presidencies?
Yeah, of course. He controls Nigeria, man. He used to control Nigeria.
Oh, he's the controller of Nigeria. He doesn't go to the white masters in Great Britain for help.
Of course, man. The president of Nigeria right now.
Did you take all yours out there, or what did you do?
Not yet. Hey, guys, let me pass the mic to 1,000% Prince Peter. We're gonna close out. Go 1,000%.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna add that I think he's speaking in a lot of general statements, like especially like in New York. Some of the most welcoming Africans there is the Wolof and the Fula. That's the most, like some of the most welcoming Africans there. So to generalize,
they are tricky.
Yeah.
They're tricky.
What Mike? But where are they from specifically? Are they from Senegal? Senegambian?
They're usually from the French, like Guinea, Senegal, Gambia.
Yeah. So there you go.
They're very welcoming. So
thank you. That's why.
So I don't know. Like Elvis is painting like a broad brush.
No, I think it's the type of Islam that is practiced in Senegal and Gambia that's different from northern Nigeria. And
very correct.
That's true. They still have their traditional names. Like they have Diallo, they have Berry. Well, I never met African from I mean, not a northern Nigerian person. When you see them on the news, they always have an Arab name. No, they always have an Arab name. They always have
Abdul
Ibrahim
Mohammed,
this.
Abdul, and Abdul means slave. They don't even know it. Abdul means slave.
You see, in Senegambia region, the reason why they're sedentary in Senegambia, they've been checked by the Wolof, checked by the Mandinka, checked by other tribes and all that. The only way they can move is by mass producing or getting into politics. But in Nigeria, they feel free to just like they can run amok anywhere. You see what I'm saying?
But you also think they're farther away from their origin. Don't they like originally from those kind of regions like Mali,
They come from the
Senegal?
Sahara. These are the black Africans from the Sahara. These are the black people that originally came.
Yeah,
from the
they
Sahara.
come from mostly Western Sahara region in Mauritania and Mauritius. That's their origin.
They're always proud to be black, though. The Fula are always proud to be black. Where I'm from, man.
If you look at ancient Saharan painting, if you look at ancient Saharan paintings, ancient Saharan rock art and paintings, you will see they depict the pastoral nomadic lifestyle. These were the black people there. They only came down south and are still doing it because the desert has been spreading down south.
No. The Arabs took their land.
Okay, you can say that.
That's true. The Arabs enslaved the Fulanese in Mauritania and Mauritius for years, for centuries, bro. And that's why they're so mixed like that. And then they came down, south.
The Fulanis are mixed. The Fulanis are mixed because they are Arab worshippers, and all they want to do is give their. They
were enslaved by the Arab for hundreds of years, and they intermixed with them.
They give themselves to the Arabs for free.
Go see your king. Go see your king, man.
All right, guys, we're gonna close out. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time. Peace.
Thank you all.